When you're so ugly you look like a troll that lost a fight with a paper shredder, your hairline is fighting for its life, and despite being a literal vampire you're still everyone's chew toy. You know the universe has favorites. Our boy Eugene even manages to get taken out by a knight's holy blade. No dinner, no mercy, just 2 meters of steel and a respawn screen. But apparently even God feels bad for him because he gets a second shot at life. And this time, he's done being the community stress ball. Eugene decides if he's going to survive, he's going all in. He's hunting the strongest beings on the planet, draining their blood for power, stacking abilities like DLC, and chasing the ultimate glow-up so history doesn't repeat itself. The goal is to the top, become both knight and vampire lord, or get folded again by that same oversized holy sword. In a dark and desolate forest, a whole quad of holy knights are roaming around, ready to hunt the disgusting little vampire they have running the streets. The head knight has the vampire pierced, and looking at the vampire's frail old body, it's like a hydrogen bomb versus a coughing baby. The knight smiles. He's been hiding for half a year like a filthy rat, and did he really think he could get away from the holy knights? He looks good mounted on his blade, and his pretty tricks have been mocking the holy knights for a while. His role is over, and God will bring him to damnation. The knight smiles, thanking the vampire for giving him the title Vampire Slayer, as if he just unlocked some secret achievement in the Call of Duty lobby. He starts sentencing the vampire, and the vampire's eyes filled with tears, remorse, and regret. He's chopped as hell and bald as hell. On a scale of 1 to 10, our boy is a -8. Even the knight says that his appearance proves that he is a sinner, for being ugly is the biggest sin of all. The entire time, they couldn't capture him. The reason why the knight joined this pursuit squad and allowed the vampire to do whatever he wants is that he's a vampire who appeared a long time ago. They had to act slowly in catching him so that they could gain more attention. The vampire grits his teeth in frustration. No way is his whole life a public relations stunt. This is the world where only the strong can survive, and everything is decided by strength, no matter where they are. In a last desperate attempt to prove himself, he rushes towards the holy knight, only to be sliced in half by his crimson blade. Everything turns red, and he looks at the knight. The knight yells that his existence itself is a shame to the church's image. The vampire wishes he could have one more freaking chance, so that he could live differently. As everything is bathed in crimson, the vampire gasps, getting up with a jolt. He finds himself all alone in a forest, wondering what's going on. He just got clapped by a holy knight's sword, and how is he still in one piece? Was it a dream or something? He looks around in his old yet familiar room. This is the tent he lived in before the holy knight started chasing him. He looks at the markings on the wall and realizes that it's half a year, maybe before the subjugation squad started hounding him. He looks at his appearance, and our boy's face card is enough to send the baddies into a seizure. Built like a stick man and with a hairline more cooked than Nappa's, he realizes that he has returned to the past. But this is another chance to prove himself. He knows that this is a remote village near the Broadwind town, a place where humans rarely pass through. For a long time, he has survived from prying human eyes because he hid. He hid because he was weak, a feeble vampire who lived more like a mouse than a bat, holding his breath and barely scraping by every day. His name is Eugene. Although he never thirsted for human blood by nature, he once fell for the instinct a long time ago, and that single mistake ruined his life. Mercenaries swarmed the area, and within 5 nights the holy knights had patrolled the village. He remembers the knights, their fearsome eyes glowing with relish, to gain the Vampire Slayer title. It was hard to decide who was the demon and who was the human. They eventually found him and split him in half, like the Red Sea. Out of fear, he only survived by drinking the blood of beasts, but for 12 years, he has been on the run. He refuses to live like that this time around. He won't make the same mistakes again, and even if he hides again, he'll just meet the same ending. What he needs to do is get stronger than they can imagine. The only way he can get stronger is the vampire way. He barges into a swamp, realizing that he'll have to change his survival strategy. Vampires can get stronger by drinking blood. The stronger the owner of the blood, the stronger they can be. The surface of the swamp starts to bubble, and the monster of the forest has arrived, a hulking beast resembling a crocodile. Eugene refuses to back away this time around. He looks at the fearsome beast, and with its current weak body, all he can do is avoid its attack, and like a little bat, wait to land a small blow and drink blood from it to gain its powers. His entire strategy has been to erase his presence. That's the strategy I've been following ever since I chose arts as my major when I came face to face with my dad. Now that he knows that hiding will fail, he's ready to act out for power. He rushes in and brings his blade down on the alligator, but his sword shatters like his fragile ego. The alligator tail whips it away, and looking at the bootleg Ferrarigator, our boy is completely cucked. He gasps with surprise, wondering if he underestimated the roamer's strength. Roamers are demonic beasts that roam the earth. They're apex predators, and some of them even have mana stones that are treated more preciously than gemstones. Currently, he's getting his life rocked by the Ferrarigator, and if only he could obtain a mana crystal, the situation would change. But ifs and desires don't change the outcome. The alligator starts rolling around, and the only way Eugene can get out of this predicament is if he channels his inner Yoink Man. He wonders if his life will end before he can land a single blow. The Ferrarigator chomps and brings him to the bottom of the lake, and remorse settles in his heart once again. He's blown his chance to do things differently in this life by overestimating himself. Just then, he starts hyping himself that he's been crawling and holding his breath all his life around. But this time he will do anything to survive. He chomps on the beast's tongue, and all of a sudden, hair starts growing on his bald and disgusting scalp. He refuses to go back to being a mouse. Blazing symbols appear all over his body as he refuses to back down. He won't get another chance to live, so he'll make the best of this chance. He reaches for its core and crushes it. He'll start by standing on the blood of others. The entire lake explodes and shreds of monster meat fly everywhere. Eugene realizes that he is no longer the man he once was. He comes off the lake with an insane glow-up, flowing locks of raven hair, and a body built like a Greek god. Someone get this man a pint of Goku's blood. He promises to see blood and victory for himself. Eugene looks at his new glow-up in surprise. He just needed enough blood to become the master of the forest, but he managed to absorb the mana crystal as well. The mana crystal contained the monster's power, and it's beyond what he imagined. A different breed, a different color and size. The ability that he absorbed allows him to change his skin into black scales. He looks at his scaled and armored arm, wondering if he can use it to shield himself from the sun and walk during the day. If only Muzan were as smart as our boy. He found out about the master of the forest through mercenaries in his past life. The wetlands were not vast. Not a lot of people knew about it. However, as the area widened due to monsoons and floods, the master appeared and attacked the mercenaries. In his past life, he was able to take a gulp of the injured master's blood, and as a result, he got a speed boost and was able to kill several mercenaries and escape with his life. That's how he found out that the master's blood was a S-tier buff, and that's when he decided he needed to drain it. He's gained some power, but still not enough to fight Holy Knight Jung. He looks at his armored arm once again and dispels the scales. He needs to stop himself from fighting a losing battle until he's certain that he's completely prepared. Holy Knight Jung is the man who took him down last time. He can find him no matter what, as if he has a GPS signal or anything evil or undead. That's why hiding is futile, and he should gather his strength so that he can counter these holy knights. Realizing that the sun will soon rise, he decides to get out of here. It's still too soon to test out the power of the black scales. He really doesn't want to be burned to a crisp after getting a glow up. All of a sudden, something catches his attention. A voice whispers that the fake master who usurped their territory has finally been slain. The swamp will turn into a beautiful lake once again. It's unbelievable that the fake died pathetically, and for that, the entity is grateful to Eugene. Surprisingly, it also tells Eugene to pay for his sin of staining these grounds with blood. Eugene looks at the swirling mass of water, wondering if he'll have to throw hands once again. A spirit has arrived claiming to be the guardian of the lake. The guardian called Moran. Moran hears that as the forest is infatuated and the earth is in rage, he shall be cursed. Turns out this fairy is nothing but hot air. It's the size of a can of cola. Moran is operating under the assumption that Eugene didn't hear anything, even calling him a bald vampire despite his lustrous locks. She yaps that sensing spirits is a special skill only a few people have. Surprisingly, our boy is one of those few who ask what her problem is. Moran wasn't expecting him to hear what he said. 5 seconds later, she is bowing in apology, all caked up and claiming to be the water spirit known as Moran. She was the master of this place, but that wretched crocodile came and took her for a slave, though she tries to tell herself that she was a partner. Food wouldn't come by if the water were too dirty, and water is her specialty. But because of him, the freaking alligator is finally dead, and the place can be purified. But she saw a certain old man get eaten by the crocodile. She's operating under the assumption that our boy was using it as a disguise to nerf himself, and to make the crocodile think that he was easy picking. No way this handsome devil was the same dirty old man. Eugene is not hearing her yapping and notices one of the tattoos on his body disappear. Marin points out his tattoos and wonders what they mean. Are they markings of a hero or a warrior? Even Eugene is not sure. That's the way he was born, and he had 10 tattoos in his past life and no memories of his earlier days. All he did was live a quiet life, and he wasn't able to reflect on himself. Maybe the tattoos are a spell or a curse, and one has been released because of what happened today. He turns to leave, telling Moran to protect the forest well. Moran would rather die than lose the company she has gained after years of solitude. She's been bored out of her head, and no one can see spirits anymore. She even offers him a refreshing drink so that he can make his skin glow. Eugene looks at her, wondering where the water will come from, and all of a sudden, she starts barfing a mountain spring. Eugene might be a vampire and a freak, but even this is way too beyond his scope. He turns to leave, saying that he doesn't want spirit barf. Marin even volunteers to pee instead of vomiting so that it's even purer. Our boy is disgusted. Several days later, he reaches the village. The village elders are surprised to learn that dead animals have been dropped off in a much larger quantity than before. Ducks, geese, boars, and deer are all sprawled on the entrance. They wonder what the red-eyed monster is thinking because it's not time yet. The monster that lives at the foot of the mountain and brings them dead animals as stacks every now and then. He also stops late at night and, once every fortnight, gives them a feast. Eugene looks at them from behind the bushes, asking if he can step into the village for a moment. After bribing the villagers with a mountain of meat and protein, that's the least they can do. The first time he appeared was 10 years ago, and everyone was scared. But now that he pays taxes by giving them dead animals, no one objects to his existence. That's how their real weird relationship lasted for 10 years. The village elder and others talked to him uneasily, wondering if they had done anything. Eugene says that after a long time of isolation, he's been healed of his sickness, and he's here to share the good news that he's received help from the village. He takes off his mask, and everyone is stunned into silence. They were expecting a balding, aging, dirty old monster, not this handsome devil with ruby eyes, crimson and alluring raven hair, and a killer smile. They can't believe that the monster was so handsome and wonder if he's a half-elf or a noble. For all those who are chopped out there, forget expensive creams and retinol. Monster blood is the way to go for an insane glow-up. Either that or hepatitis. The guy can't believe that he wore a mask to hide how good-looking he was. Moran looks at Eugene, wondering why he gave them dead animals. What is he thinking? A vampire should bring havoc to the land. Eugene tells her that that's a stereotype and she shouldn't be racist. She angrily wonders if he's going to be lovey-dovey with the villagers. Wasn't he going to leave in a couple of days? Eugene reveals that the mercenaries will raid the village in a few days. They're here for a boy to take him back to the church, and to prevent witnesses, they will kill all the villagers. Myron can't believe that that's true. But what the hell is he even thinking? Later, they're crossing the door as he is ready to bring down the mercenaries when they fall on the village. All of a sudden, he stops and Moran bangs into his head. He comes face to face with the mercenaries he's been talking about, who call him a pretty little boy. They notice that he doesn't have any weapons and he's all alone. They decide to put his existence to an end. What they don't know is that our boy is no longer a pushover. As the first knight tries to kill him with a single sweep of his hand, he sends the knight's head flying and a chill down everyone else's spine. He needed to gain the villagers' trust and not look suspicious. That's why he didn't transform. But he's going to kill all these comebacks today. The mercenaries can't believe what they're seeing. Even Moran is surprised to see Eugene go all out, his crimson eyes bloodshot, and his obsidian arm dripping with blood. He proclaims he's going to kill all the mercenaries over here. Screams echo in the air, and they yell that this guy is a vampire. Not a human. One of them tries to bring down his blade, only for the blade to be grabbed ruthlessly, and for the guy's head to depart from its body. Eugene continues to bring down the mercenaries one after another. Their swords are like toothpicks to him. They're eager to gain glory as a vampire slayer, only to be bashed unceremoniously by a bald guy who brings a huge morning star, ready to bash his pretty boy face in. He swings the morning star with the confidence of a bodybuilder on steroids, but Eugene grabs the morning star as if it's a ball made out of dough. He tells them that the sun is setting and it's his time of the day. Night is his domain, the best time to conceal blood on his hands. Everyone starts to consolidate that he's a monster they can't run away. All they need to do is attack him together. Rookie mistake. A few hours later, all the villagers are gathered with torches in their hands. They look at signs of struggle and the mercenary's body, wondering if the red-eyed monster is to blame. The chief looks at Eugene, asking if he did that. Eugene lies through his seat that he found them this way on his way back from his hunt. He was checking his traps, and it looks like they were ambushed on their way to the village. He points to a pile of bodies behind him, saying they are the culprit, black wolves. Sure enough, Black Wolf's body littered the forest ground. He explains that there were a lot of wolves, and he went after them after they were eating the corpses, as they could see some of them were dead, but many managed to escape. The ones that got away might be watching them from somewhere far away. The chief knows that these wolves have been a problem in these areas for a while, but how did he manage to kill them on his own? Is this really not the red-eyed monster's doing? A few villagers confirmed that the bodies have wolf marks on them. Another one also confirms that claw marks are all over the body. The black wolves are hostile, and there's no way they would manage to take down a group of mercenaries, or so the chief thought. Before evidence was slammed into his face, he apologizes for thinking that he was responsible, and what is he going to do with the corpses? They can't just leave them around. The chief decides to bury them in the village. Even Moran is shaken by his bullfish talents. It's like every time he talks, a lie comes out. The wolves were just passing around, minding their own business, before Eugene beat the snot out of them, killing them and using their powerful jaws as staplers to mark the corpses with teeth marks and claws. Moran can't fathom why he wants to cover up his crimes to such an extent, and why he cares about his image. It would have been easier to just leave. Of course, people would suspect him, but that's not an issue. It seems as if he has some kind of plan. Sure enough, Eugene fishes into his cloak and brings out a letter. He searched the corpses and got this letter. Looking at Sir Thurvan's seal is enough to have the chief sweating in his boots. He reads the letter, and his face turns pale. He roars around asking where Fallad is. Where the hell is that boy? One of them explains that the boy is at the village. Apparently, he is the bastard son of Sir Thurvan. The mercenaries were here to kidnap him. Eugene remembers the look on the mercenary's face as he wondered how he managed to kill all of these people in the blink of an eye. If they go back empty-handed, they will be killed anyway. It's like being caught between a cliff and a lion, so he told his men to fight instead of hesitating. Even if Eugene is a monster, he's only a guy with one pair of arms and one pair of legs. All they need to do is jump him, and he'll fall eventually. Big rookie mistake for underestimating Eugene. 5 minutes later, the leader is speechless and shaking in his boots, wondering why it has to go down like this. Why did the monster have to appear before they completed their mission at the very last? He tried to attack Eugene, only to be kicked in his breastplate and sent flying. He crashed into a tree stump and begged Eugene to stop the massacre. A little too late, looking at all the bodies sprawled around him. The leader wanted to know if Eugene was waiting for them from the very start and why he targeted them. They're only good mercenaries trying to complete their job and earn an honest living. Eugene wonders what that honest job he's talking about is. He stood before the leader as the Shinigami of death, enough to send a chill down his spine, claiming the village to be his. The mercenary apologized as if his life depended on it. He didn't know that the village belonged to him, and they're only here to complete their mission, not to hunt his kind. There's a bastard son of the Turwin family hiding in the village, and people thought that he had gone missing, but he was just erasing his identity. They're here to look for him. Eugene knows that he's just a really good liar, but what is his real reason? There's no reason to have so many people for a mission so simple. Perhaps he was planning to erase the entire village. The leader barked that that's not the case and that he's completely wrong. They weren't actually hired by the Tyrwin patriarch. Their clients were Kamara Tyrwin and Werthel Tyrwin. They were hired because of political problems among the nobles, and they're just here to kidnap a bastard. Is there any reason for them to be massacred? They were only being cautious in case things went wrong. He sits in front of Eugene, asking for forgiveness. Eugene clicks his tongue in frustration. He knew this would happen. Werthel Tyrwin is the knight who harassed him in his past life, along with Jung. He is the commander of the vampire hunting squad, and Werthel probably wouldn't have issued orders to erase the village. That's likely this man's own agenda, the guy who has his cake in the air and his head on the ground. That's also why he was found by the paladins in Eugene's past life. A huge search party was organized after the whole village disappeared, and that's when everything fell apart and he landed in hot water. The leader apologizes again. He thought it was a good opportunity. He would have never taken the job if he knew Eugene was here. Eugene turns to leave, casually telling the man to watch out for bulls. They're pretty ruthless around these parts. The man sighs, wondering if he's really going to live, only for his head to depart from his body 2 seconds later. Moran looks at the corpse, silently validating Eugene's decision, though she wonders why he glanced toward the darkness. Crimson eyes shine back. The wolves are drooling. That's how he arranged everything. The chief yells that the dead mercenaries were supposed to be guards to take the boy to the castle. The boy who lost his mother last year and has been staying in the village for 8 years. The plan was to erase his presence quietly, but the mercenaries assigned to escort him are now dead. Eugene wonders if it's truly important for the boy to reach the Lord's castle. If it is, then he might as well escort him to the city himself, past the wolves. After all, he has experience surviving in the woods. The chief stares at him. Why would he protect that boy? Eugene smiles, subtly boosting his charisma, and claims he is a knight who would never refuse the chance to help. Even Moran wonders how he manages to bullfish his way out of every situation. The man has balls of steel. Everyone is stunned. Even Moran is speechless as Eugene introduces himself. Felid Eugene from the Eugene house. The villagers are in shock. Everyone is shocked that her boy is claiming to be from a line of knights. Miran can't believe that the villagers would accept that lie, that the red-eyed monster was actually noble. But the villagers are eating out of his hand, calling each other rude and addressing him as Sir Eugene. Moran yells that even if it's a lie, it's going too far. Eugene reminds her that, judging from their reaction, these people have never seen a noble before. They're losing their mind over a bastard noble living in their village. If he pretends to be one as well, there's no telling what they would do. Sure enough, everyone wants to shake his hand. Not only are they glazing him, but they're doing tricks on top of it. They're full of questions, wondering why he's been living secluded in the forest for 10 years. Was it to heal wounds he received during night training, or some kind of other training the knights do? Eugene tells them that due to various circumstances, he cut ties with all his people and lived in the forest. Everyone smiles. No wonder he felt different from a monster. The moment he started bringing food to their village, they knew that he was someone special. And thanks to the knights' excellent swordsmanship, he was able to live alone in the forest. The chief nervously says that their village is dirt poor, so they can't reward him properly. Eugene smiles. All he needs is a place to rest and relieve his fatigue. So would it be okay for him to stay in the village tonight? The leader eagerly tells him that he can stay, Their house is humble for receiving a knight, but he can live in their house tonight. Later, as morning arrives, Eugene sits by the window and gently pushes his hand into the sunlight, covered in black scales. It's time to see if the scales can stop him from burning like a kebab. He gently pushes his fingers to the warm light, and surprisingly, he doesn't start smoking. If he covers himself with these black scales, he can block some light to some extent. Thanks to that, there will be fewer problems on the journey. Then he calls him an ignorant knight, dwelling vampire for bullfishing his way out of the situation. He called himself a knight, but he couldn't even read, and if he's found out someday, he's gonna earn the title of phony knight. Eugene tells her that he's going to leave the village someday, so it doesn't matter. Miran asks him what his goal is, and he replies, there's something she can't wrap her head around. Miran marks that he's lived quietly in the forest all this time, and suddenly he's being buddies with the villagers and even taking on their requests. All of a sudden, someone calls him Sir Eugene, telling him that the mount is ready and he can depart whenever he wants. Eugene points at the people and tells Miran that he has gained social status overnight. Humans believe and trust another person's status more than their fancy words. And even if he lies out of his teeth, if he puts those statuses in front, he can reduce 100 lies to only 10. Only this village will be able to accept a hastily made up lie. Nobles are much less likely to believe it until they see it. He puts on his mask and tells Miran that from now on, he's going to turn this lie into a truth. He's built up trust through good deeds so far. The leader smiles, telling Eugene he has written a letter of statement so that he won't be misunderstood. And Felid is also ready. He asks Eugene to take good care of the young master. Eugene has wrapped themselves in his pretty ribbon of lies. Everyone believes in him. Felid nervously introduces himself, looking forward to his guidance. To turn that lie into a truth, Eugene has decided to grab a high status. He tells Felid that he's looking forward to working with him. Also, internally, he has decided to use him to become a real noble. They embark on their journey towards the empire, walking through a desolate land. He looks at a village and wonders why, if it is called Brahms. The boy reads the signboard and confirms that that indeed is the village. Eugene is surprised to learn that his late mother taught him how to read. His mother's status was low, and she never got any formal education, but someone she loved taught her how to read. Eugene never imagined that Sir Terwin went out of the way to crack the baddie's back and teach her the ABCs. Miran points out that Eugene should ask Felid to teach him how to read. Sure enough, Felid asks him to teach him how to read and write as well. Felid nervously wonders why he's a knight. He's supposed to learn how to read. The first thing is knight school. He nervously says that a knight is just for show. His family has already fallen, and there's nothing to boast about his house. It wasn't letters that helped him stay alive, but his sword. Felid never thought about that. He looks at Eugene in a whole new light, starting to believe in him. And once he has gained Felid's trust, it will be easier to trick him. Miran, on the other hand, points out that his acting was Oscar-worthy. But will the noble really believe him? She turns to look at Felid with tearful eyes, looking at Eugene. It's clear that he already believes Eugene. The boy apologizes, for he was always suspicious of Eugene, calling him a red-eyed monster rather than a noble. Everyone in the village called him a monster, so he was biased and racist. He vows to judge him with his own eyes, and if he comes from a warrior's background, then it's possible he neglected studying. He promises to teach him whatever he can so that he won't be embarrassed in front of others. Eugene, on the other hand, is on high alert, stopping an arrow a few inches from Felid's eye. A group of bandits arrives, smiling and telling them to empty their pockets. The boy looks like he's about to piss his pants as the bandits tell them to put their luggage down and empty everything they have if they don't want their bottoms to be mounted on a wall. Eugene asks them who decided that, before slicing the first guy's head with a blade. He tells them to move away or get slaughtered. One of them tries to hit him with a pickaxe, only to lose his head again. One by one, they are all falling until only one of them remains. He wonders why humans try to kill and rob those weaker than themselves. If someone looks weak, does it mean it's fine to torment them? He tells Felid that once he learns how to read, will he be able to understand things like this as well? Felid looks at the signs of gore all around him. His eyes widen in horror as he covers his mouth. Eugene tells him that he's free to believe whatever he wants, but he promises not to let a single drop of blood touch his body. We finally arrive at a village bustling with activity. Merchants are practically trying to rob people in broad daylight, shouting about rare medicinal herbs from the northern dungeons. Only 20 bronze coins a bundle. People are haggling in the streets, children laughing as they count pocket change for candy. Miran smiles. After a lifetime of solitude in the swamp, this almost feels magical. Felid calls out to Sir Eugene, asking if he plans to shop and warning him to be careful. The villagers are notorious for ripping off wanderers. The merchants exploit so aggressively that even seasoned traders get fleeced. Felid remembers the village chief returning home furious after going a few rounds with these same merchants. They are master rage baiters, yelling about half-price deals and fake refunds just to stir chaos. Eugene scans the market, First priority money. He's broke as beans. He approaches a merchant and asks if he's interested in buying leather. From his pack, he pulls out black wolf skins, trophies from his last hunt. The merchant's eyes flash. Black wolves aren't common around here. Still, he looks Eugene up and down, deciding from the shabby clothes that he's easy prey. The merchant laughs and claims the leather is damaged beyond repair. Best I can do is 18 silver coins. Eugene stares at him with the intensity of 1,000 black moons. The air tightens. The merchant begins sweating, noticing the crimson tint in Eugene's eyes. He quickly amends his statement. Well, rare quality and all, maybe a bit more. Eugene simply hums. The merchant nearly folds in half. 23 silver. 25. Another quiet, as if it might be a death sentence. 27. Felid watches in disbelief. Eugene negotiates like an Asian mom at a flea market. The merchant looks seconds away from wetting himself. 30 silver coins. Final offer. I can't go higher. Eugene nods and accepts. Later, they sit by a campfire. Eugene studies a few letters. The words still look like worms crawling across the page, but he's learned the basics. He's now dressed in finer threads, and Moran tells him he looks good. Vampires prefer silk robes, though, and for that quality, the money was worth it. Eugene admits he was worried about being ripped off. Moran raises a brow. The merchant practically begged to give him more money. All Eugene did was stare and say, him. She insists he should have pushed further and bought the finest silk available. Life is meant to be lived in luxury. Vampires are nobles, draped in silk, bathed in moonlight, drinking blood like wine, and commanding servants. If he wants to rise in this world, he needs ambition. Otherwise, those beneath him will slander him. Eugene points out that for someone raised in a swamp, she knows a lot. Moran reminds him that she once lived in the spirit realm. Powerful seniors passed through and shared wisdom, especially the Tooth Fairy. Unless he's pierced by silver or staked through the heart, he could live 200 years. He should learn everything. Languages, history, culture. Eugene asks if she can even read. She cannot. Illiterate and annoying. Felid approaches pale as ever, asking who Eugene is talking to. From his perspective, Eugene is arguing with thin air. Eugene shifts the topic, asking about his stomach. Felid apologizes for earlier. Preparing the rabbit reminded him of how Eugene slaughtered bandits that morning. Ordinary people aren't built for that kind of intensity. Still, the night is long. Felid pulls out sheets of paper and offers to teach Eugene reading and writing. Hours pass as they quietly practice letters. Eugene wonders if it's supposed to be this easy or if he secretly has a 5 million IQ. Felid calls him amazing, others take months. Eugene is picking it up in weeks. But will it be enough? He's about to become a noble's child overnight. Felid admits it still doesn't feel real. He's not even sure Lord Terwin will welcome him as a son. Suddenly, a group approaches their camp. Armed, armored, disciplined, real mercenaries, not drifters. Their leader explains they're looking for a decent campsite and asks where Eugene is headed. This time, Eugene decides not to lie. Lord Terwin's castle. The mercenaries exchange looks. They're headed there too. They offer to share the fire and promise alcohol, water, and lamp meat in return. A young boy named Rabin protests, saying it's unfair to share supplies. Another man partook. Rabin is new and thinks he's hot stock. When Eugene introduces himself as Knight Felid Eugene, the mood shifts. Rabin scoffs. No horse, no armor, no famous Eugene house. Sounds fake. Eugene remains calm, but his mind sharpens. He has already claimed knighthood before. He can't retract it now. Whether they believe him or not isn't the issue. If they push too far, the situation could turn. There aren't that many of them. His hand drifts toward his blade. Eugene starts thinking about ways to kill them. He reaches for his sword and changes his stance. Just then, the captain calls out to Rabin, smacking the living snot out of him and sending him barreling towards the tree trunk. He then apologizes to Eugene, calling him sir and asking him to forgive the rookie for his rudeness. Eugene tells the captain that his apology is enough and that he should settle for the night. Eugene thanks him for the apology, and they turn to leave. He knows that suspicion will come his way, and to avoid pointless suspicion, he needs to become a real knight as soon as possible. Later, they sit around a campfire, and Rabin finally wakes up with a jolt. He is so disoriented that he doesn't even know where he is. The captain calls him an idiot for rushing at a knight without any sense of fear. He yells at Rabin, smacking him again and asking if he realizes that he is alive only because of the captain. They would have all died because of his mistake. Rabin complains that he is scared of a shabby guy like him. The captain reminds him not to judge a book by its appearance. He is the one who can't see ahead. Does he even know how much the robe he is wearing costs? It's a high-grade robe padded with leather, and the cheapest one costs over 10 silver coins. Rabin looks at Eugene in a whole new light. That's 3 times his monthly pay, and since they saw him reading a letter, it means that he is literate. And he is no ordinary guy because he was a hair's breadth away from drawing his sword. They would have all died, and if they were lucky, the only captain and another guy would have survived. Rabin can't believe that he is so powerful. The captain tells the squirt not to run his mouth without knowing his place. The knight had his right hand inside his robe, and his left foot was drawn slightly back. A person who can skillfully set his center of gravity to match the arc of the sword is not someone they should mess with. If he were a second too late, Rabin would lose his head. Rabin asks the captain if he could have stopped him. The captain tells Rabin that he has no idea how terrifying the knights are. A knight is someone who is born into a distinguished family and who has been carrying a wooden sword from birth, spending their entire life learning how to kill professionally, willingly entering unknown dungeons, facing the fear of death to stab monsters and head to the battlefield to cut fellow humans, while getting married. The James Bond of this world, and those who have stained their hands with so much blood catch the eyes of nobles, and finally receive official appointment. Besides, impersonating a knight is a serious crime, and it's a real problem if he is real, but a bigger problem if he is a fake. Anyone bold enough to claim himself to be a knight is someone they can't deal with. Only those who are very confident in their swordsmanship would call themselves a knight out of the people who devote themselves to the sword. Does he even know how many end up becoming one? If someone who looks over 20 calls themselves a knight, that means that their skill is pretty high. Rabin asks the captain if he thinks that Eugene is stronger than him. Eugene wonders about that. They are heading for Sir Terwin's capsule. He heard that there is a dungeon opening up soon, so maybe Eugene is going to participate in it. And since their destinies are intertwined, they will meet again. Since Eugene's hearing is top notch, he manages to eavesdrop on their conversation. He now realizes the weight the word knight has. He really wants to become a real one before his lie is found out. He also knows that aside from Rabin, all the others are proper warriors. And why did Terwin's family hire trashy mercenaries when they could have used people like these to fetch Felid? Or maybe they could have sent their own soldiers. Something doesn't add up. He walks up to the group, saying that they are all heading to the same destination. Maybe they can walk together. He takes off his mask, and they are blown away by how handsome he is. Pretty privilege is real. They finally arrive at the kingdom's village. Fortunately, everyone believes that he is a knight, and if they travel together to reach their destination, he should be able to pick up more information. He asks Moran for the intel she has gotten by eavesdropping on the mercenaries. Turns out that Lord Terwin is on his deathbed, and a new dungeon has also opened up. But since they don't have the manpower to clear it, they are trying to get mercenaries to do it. If Lord Terwin is going to die soon, Moran wonders what will happen to his bastard child. Will he become an orphan the moment he arrives? Eugene coldly says that's none of his business. Moran can't believe that he is going to let the boy die a dog's death at the hands of his brothers. The reason why the Lord summoned him is probably that he wants to see his child's face before he dies. And from now on, their fates are going to change one way or another. They finally arrive at Rose Castle, a beautiful castle with roses embroidered on the gates. It's bigger than Eugene expected, and Moran is excited for Eugene to climb the ranks quickly and live in a castle like this someday. Eugene tells Moran to stop with the nonsense and get back inside. The guards ask the group what their business is. The captain explains that they are a mercenary troop sent by a company. They are here to meet with the Lord. The one who is asking them is Kamara here in the castle, an eldest son. He asks about the goods and tells them to start unloading. He then looks at Eugene, asking why he is not moving around. Who is he? Eugene has balls of steel to introduce himself as Knight Eugene. Before he can introduce Felid, a voice calls out to Kamara asking what he is doing over here. The voice sounds familiar to Eugene. It has been years since he heard it, but he could never forget it, for it belongs to the man who first discovered him, the commander of the vampire hunting troop, who together with Jung tormented him mercilessly, Knight Verthil, a stern man with golden locks and piercing blue eyes. Verthil looks at them, asking what they are doing over here. He is the house's second son and knight. Kamara smirks, wondering if he really has to tell him about everything he does. It makes him sound like he is the heir. Verthil claps back, saying that's not what he meant. Eugene interrupts their little bromance, handing them a letter from the village's chief. Looking at the letter, Verthil reaches out for it, but Eugene hands it to Kamara, making it clear that he is the heir and Verthil is just a washed-up nobody. Reading through the letter, Kamara exclaims that he can't believe it. The mercenaries were ambushed by the wolves, and they died one after another. This dirty, ragged kid is their bastard brother. The young boy introduces himself, and they smile. Verthil, on the other hand, looks like he's about to have a heart attack. He was already fighting for the heir position, and now he has another mouth to feed. Kamara warms up, saying his father is eager to see him. Verthil grunts that someone should take him and wash him. Also, put him in proper clothes. Poor little Felid is whisked away. He had no idea that he had to have new threads to meet with his daddy. As Verthil is about to leave, Eugene wants to talk about the reward first, and he also wants to meet with the lord of the house. Verthil is so furious he's about to blow a nerve, saying he won't allow it. As their father is not well, he promises to play his role and pay in gold coins so he can go back. Eugene reminds them that he worked pretty hard to bring his brother over here. Verthil, who has no brain cells left to negotiate, tells them to buzz off. Kamara intervenes, asking why not. They do have to introduce their new brother to their father. So what's wrong with letting this mercenary see him for a little bit? Verthil reminds his brother that their father can't wait for even an hour a day. They can't let him meet a stranger during that day. Kamara laughs, asking if he's going to schedule his father's schedule as well. Maybe he should micromanage their daddy. Verthal grunts that he should stop taking his words out of context, and Kamara is a master rage baiter, smiling and telling Eugene that it won't be possible for him to meet his father, even calling him Sir Eugene, much to Verthal's annoyance. Kamara even says that it is because of his brother playing house and role playing being the heir that he won't be able to meet him. He pats Eugene on the shoulder, telling him to take care and make it home safely. Now he turns his attention towards Felid, promising to show him around the castle grounds. Eugene knows that this guy wasn't about to let him meet Sir Thurvan from the start. This was all a show to rage bait Verthal. A voice calls out to the second son, and they turn to see a hulking man with strawberry hair holding a mercenary over his shoulder and telling him that he's been looking everywhere for him. Verthal looks at the mercenaries in confusion. The guy tells them that the mercenaries were stealing from the villagers and lazing around being bums, so he brought them here. A look of darkness flashes across the man's face. Maybe they should kill one as an example. Verthal wasn't about to reveal himself as a cold-blooded killer in front of Eugene. He tells the guy that they'll talk later. There are too many people listening. They turn to leave, and the chief tells Eugene that that person is Sir Galfredic, a knight with a bright future ahead of him, placed third in the tournament hosted by the ever-growing family. He's a monster in his own right, skills and strength stacked up to the max. He even took down more than 1,000 competitors that day. Eugene can't believe that there's someone like that over here. That's basically a walking human weapon. Maybe it's because of the newly discovered dungeon. The area is far from the capital, and it's a great accomplishment to conquer a dungeon. All kinds of talents are being recruited over here. Attracted just like the Simpsons are attracted to an e-girl's OnlyFans account. The chief explains that Sir Galfredic must be planning to use the dungeon to get hired by a bigger family. Eugene smiles and tells Parthik that now that his job is done, maybe he might be interested in being hired by someone else. Later, the second son punishes all of the mercenaries, and the first son knows that he is going after the successor position openly now that his father is on his way to meet King Yama. He even brought Sir Galfredic through his connections, so he must be trying to open the dungeon. Everyone will be rooting for him if he manages to pull that off while Kamara is stranded in his study. He can't hire random people and has no manpower. It's as if the solution to his problems has arrived. Eugene walks in. Kamara puts on his cheerful face, saying that their brother is safe and he shouldn't worry. Once father is awake, Eugene will get his reward, and he's also grateful for the letter. It made him feel better. Eugene smiles, saying that he has business with the lord of this estate, so he was taken aback when a third party talked between them. Kamara wonders if this guy wants an identification certificate by meeting their father. Eugene says that that's also something he wants, but what he wants the most is to be included in the dungeon raid. This piques Kamara's interest, and he bursts out laughing, saying that he is more interesting than ever. But on closer inspection, he knows that Eugene is a seasoned veteran. Dirty clothes full of scratches, and yet he claims to be a knight. They heard that he killed 5 robbers, and is he trying to polish his image by participating in the raid? Is there even a reason? Eugene makes an offer he can't decline. After all, including him in the raid won't do him any harm. He asks for 100 silver coins and half the loot if he gets to participate. Kamara finds the offer too good to be true, even suspicious. With the current housing market, how can he ask for minimum wage? Eugene reminds Kamara that he's not the one thrust into a corner. Kamara is. It's his call. Kamara asks again if he really wants to join the party, and Eugene claps back that if the dungeon opening succeeds, the mercenaries want 100 silver coins plus half of the byproducts. Kamara can keep the mana crystals. He finds the offer too good to be true, as well below minimum wage. Knights live by honor and die by honor, and Kamara is judging Eugene by his outfit. He seems to be a wandering knight with no house backing him. He's not greedy for money, so it looks like he wants honor more than Prince Zuko from the Fire Nation. And from what he's heard earlier, Eugene cuts his train of thought by saying that he's not the one in the corner, but Kamara is. Kamara grimaces, realizing that his brother is getting the jump on him by having a knight on his side. Kamara smirks, realizing Eugene knows how to play the game. He's different from the typical knight with brains the size of walnuts and muscles the size of mountains. He gets up and decides to take him up on his offer, looking forward to working with him. He extends his hand, and Eugene looks at it in confusion. He remembers the plan. Honor crystals are hard to purify, and the commissions are off the charts, so byproducts are easier to sell, and they are more profitable. Patrick had told him that a trading company is just in his contacts, and he should tell Kamara that he'll only be taking the byproducts. If he does that, then Kamara will have no choice but to accept the proposal. Everything goes according to plan. Meanwhile, Verthal is still fuming, wondering why his brother wants to add a new member to the party. It looks like he's desperate to fight until the last minute. Galfredic, on the other hand, is playing with a dagger, saying that a dungeon is not a playground for kids. The moment someone is slightly behind, they are left to die. As a player, only the strong survive. Half-baked amateurs will only hinder their advance, and he's against it. Even Verthel has a big head, so his brother must have been desperate to hire some nobody. They don't get along with the neighboring nobility, and his connections aren't broad. So if it comes down, he wants Sir Galfredic to tell Kamara himself that they can't let this nobody join. Speaking of the man of the hour, Kamara arrives apologizing for keeping them waiting. He was chatting with his new knight. Like the ultimate hype man, he introduces them to Eugene the Legend, the knight who will be joining the subjugation party. Eugene walks in like the Prince of Darkness and Moonlight with a mercenary band behind him. Verthel wasn't expecting Kamara to be supporting Eugene. On top of that, Eugene is also leading a mercenary band. Kamara smirks, telling his brother that he wants to be respectful, but Kamara is making it hard. They can't accept someone with unknown roots and skills to join the party. Kamara surprisingly vouches for his skill. It's first grade, and he also heard that Eugene is responsible for taking down a bandit group at the edge of their territory, the ones that were quite a headache. On his way here, he took them out with nothing but a short sword. With his skills, he should be more than good enough. Sir Galfredic decides to do a rain check by chucking a dagger towards Eugene. Eugene uses his unnaturally fast reflexes to deflect the dagger, piercing it into an oak wood door. Sir Galfredic smirks, getting up from his seat and apologizing for his rudeness on their first meeting. He goes on about how Eugene must be a pampered kid, for unscarred skill and lack of sunburn show that he's grown up sheltered, and maybe they should put his skills into a field test. The night continues to darken as everyone gathers in a coliseum. They are here to see a duel between Sir Galfredic and Eugene the Knight. Everyone is itching to see the human tornado go against this unknown knight. They say he's so strong that he can tear monsters apart with his bare hands. Everyone gathers around and looks at Eugene. It's a blessing for Eugene that they have chosen nighttime for their duel. Galfredic smirks, making a show of unsheathing his blade and putting it in front of him. Eugene is not for the cinematics. He just gently grabs his blade and puts it in front of him to mimic Eugene. The referee tells them to start, and they clash blades with one another. Each strike sends sparks flying. Galfredic smiles, egging him on, and Eugene takes the bait, zooming towards Galfredic over and over again. His band is excited that Eugene has the upper hand and is pushing back Galfredic. The leader tells his choir that Galfredic is only sizing him up, looking at his gameplay, and noticing his swordsmanship. Speaking of Galfredic, he is already suspecting that Eugene is nothing but a bullfishing bum. His swordsmanship is as crude oil. There's nothing special about his style. It's as if he's swinging a sword of reflexes, and he doesn't quite add up to the name he throws around, but he gives off the vibe of someone who grew up in the wild. Just as Eugene swings his blade again, Galfredic smirks, asking Eugene if his being a knight is a lie. The sparks light up the arena like a blazing fire that lit up in my heart after my arts professor told me I won't be homeless after graduating. They can't believe that Eugene is holding his own against Sir Galfredic. Galfredic, on the other hand, has realized that this man's entire existence is a lie. His swordsmanship is second-rate, his stance is sloppy, and he's never held a sword. He just relies on his physical abilities. He knows that a knight isn't supposed to rely on his swordsmanship alone, but exchanging a few blows with Eugene has taught him that Eugene prefers throwing hands instead of swinging swords. Eugene swings his blade to prove him wrong, telling Galfredic to show him what that mouth does. Galfredic smiles, telling Eugene he'll have to beat him up to shut him up. He stabs his blade towards Eugene, and Eugene manages to deflect it at the nick of time. Galfredic uses this moment to lock Eugene's sword and throw him off balance. He then swings back, ready to chop his head off in a powerful blow. Thanks to his cat-like reflexes, Eugene manages to put up his sword to parry the blow, but he is still sent flying several meters away. Verthel grins, wondering if the Willowild wannabe knight has passed out. Where is it? Far from that. Eugene is itching to throw hands with Galfredic. His rage is burning like a furnace within him as he zooms towards Galfredic, swinging his blade, adapting, improvising, and learning faster than Maharaga. Galfredic gets his blade slapped away like a twig, and Eugene is about to deliver the devastating blow, but in the last moment, Galfredic manages to parry it with his own blade, even managing to disarm Eugene. But Eugene also manages to disarm Galfredic, and they are both left swordless and maidenless. They lock hands in a power struggle. Galfredic is forced to acknowledge that Eugene has a sleeper build. His strength is off the charts for someone so small, and in terms of raw strength, Eugene takes the cake. But in terms of experience, Galfredic is the superior one. Instead of pushing, Eugene is pulled towards Galfredic, and Galfredic throws him off his stance and is about to deliver a devastating punch. Eugene manages to catch his fall and whirl around, ready to throw the knight off his balance. He grabs it and flings Galfredic. It's not a precise movement, it's not pretty, but his rapid learning ability and reflexes are making it difficult for Galfredic to get his footing. He looks at Eugene holding a clenched fist, wondering where this guy rolls out from, and it looks like this is his loss. When the fist is a few inches from his face, Galfredic already knows that he has lost the match, but has won a free face remodeling session. A single punch sends him shooting through the air. He slams into a nearby wall, cracking it, Galfredic lies in a steaming pile with a bruise forming around his cheek. Everyone is speechless as they proclaim Knight Eugene the victor. Everyone starts applauding for him, wondering where this knight comes from. He is insanely strong and has a name they have never heard of before. Blondie is yapping that guy is their own knight. The leader looks at him, wondering how he can spring from Eugene's biggest hitter to his biggest glazer. Galfredic's eyes shoot open, they are bloodshot, and he zooms towards Eugene, hyperventilating and a desire burning within him. He towers over Eugene and grabs his arm, yelling for everyone to applaud for the winner of tonight's match. Eugene is speechless. He didn't know that this big guy had golden retriever vibes. Everyone starts applauding for him, well, everyone but Verthil, who is on the verge of having a stroke. Later, a lavish banquet is spread in front of Eugene. Instead of being happy, he looks like he is about to pass out. The butler tells Eugene that, according to Kamara's orders, he is supposed to be verified until the dungeon opens up. The maids ask him about the lightning. They have drawn the curtains tight, at least as they have heard that he has sensitive skin. Miriam smirks, asking Eugene if he feels okay or nauseous. Vampires don't need food, but he'll still have to eat, and it might give him a stomachache. Eugene tells them that he appreciates the sentiment, but he wants to take care of his meals by himself and wants everyone to leave, and they need to tell the Lord that he prefers to be alone. The look on his face is enough to convince everyone, because he is a guy who has lived in the mountains for dozens of years. From that day onward, everyone looked at him in a different light. Later, Kamara is glazing Eugene, asking how his capable knight is doing. Did he sleep well? The maids are laughing and giggling, and it looks like Eugene had been doing a lot more than sleeping that night. Even Kamara says that it looks like he refused all the amenities he sent. All of a sudden, Blondie arrives, bowing before Eugene and asking what he needs. Even Eugene is starting to grow fond of him. Galfredic comes around, calling Eugene his bro, and asking if they should have another round. He shows Eugene the bruise forming around his face, saying that it's a love tap from his bro. Eugene wonders why this guy is so weird. As the ultimate introvert, he is not used to having so many people around him, but his duel with Galfredic has earned him the knight title. Those who doubted him are letting go of the suspicions one after another, and this is the result he wanted, but he is still not used to people swarming around him. Galfredic is continuing to annoy him, and our boy tells him to leave or get hit again. A familiar squeaky voice calls out to Eugene, and everyone turns around in horror as Felid arrives, asking if he has been well. Screams echo through the night, screams asking the lordship for mercy before being silenced by brutal beating. Verthil is beating the loving stuffing out of his mercenary, yelling that he should have done his job properly. The mess wouldn't have happened, and he would still be one of the only 2 heirs. But now he'll have to share the pot with a bastard, just because they feared killing him in the village. And the red-eyed knight would never have approached the castle if not for the mercenary's incompetence. Verthil yells that his plans are going off the rails. The mercenary apologizes, saying that the mercenary band was really reliable when it came to getting things done. Verthil grunts that if they're so reliable, why is there a bastard at the castle and a red-eyed knight sticking out like a sore thumb? They couldn't even fend off against a pack of wolves, and yet this idiot passed on a request to that band. He yells at the mercenary, asking if his eyes are just for show, and if so, then maybe he should get rid of them for him. Maybe that will make him blind in reality. The mercenary looks at his lordship with tearful eyes, and screams echo through the night as all the others look at him in horror. The blade is stained with blood, and after going through plastic surgery, Verthil realizes that he can't openly kill someone who's already made his way to the castle, but he still has the idea to get rid of the bastard, a method that will make the disposal of the body much easier and cleaner. Presently, Eugene says that it's weird that Verthil is telling Felid to go into the dungeon that is about to be opened up. It's better to think of it as a death sentence. Even the boy knows that he's here to die, and now he's being shipped to the dungeon. Eugene tells the boy that the mercenaries who were heading towards the village were attacked by black wolves, and the third-rate mercenaries were probably sent by one of his brothers. They wanted to bring his story to a clean end before it started, but there is a way for him to live. Like an employer handing out job applications, Eugene tells Felid that the only way to survive is to become his servant. He is already 16 and doesn't need the consent of a guardian. All he needs to do is choose the path he wishes to take. He can keep holding his breath, and he can keep waiting for the day he dies, or he can join with Eugene, struggle till the bitter end. The day of the dungeon opening finally arrives, and everyone is nervous. The dungeon hasn't been opened yet, and no one knows what kind of monsters will be lurking in its belly. Judging by the lower-ranking monsters, they will probably have goblins, and mid-rankers will be trolls and giant spiders. The high-ranking ones are impossible to predict. All of the knights are gathered together to form a plan to clear the dungeon. A monster of a higher rank is a red flag, and if they encounter such a monster, they need to retreat on the spot. They'll scout the area first and tell each other if there are any burrows nearby. The porters are smiling. They're glad that they don't have to bleed out on the front lines. Some of them even want to play the I'm sick card to clear out the low-ranking monsters. First-time dungeon raids are already brutal, and they don't take care of the rear guard. Why should he risk dying just for a few byproducts? As the loser is telling his master plan to slack off, he bumps into the worst person possible, Verthal. Verthal asks where his brother is, and everyone bows respectfully. Well, not out of respect but fear. Verthal looks around. He can't find Felid anywhere and looks at Felid smiling and talking to Eugene, telling him to eat something and return safely. Verthal grunts, zooming towards his brother. How dare that little rat slip out of the trap he set? A low-born, uncivilized wretch. He tells Felid to go to his position and shoulder his back. Felid nervously looks away. He is avoiding looking at his problem. The same way I avoid thinking about owning a house in the current housing crisis. The man grunts, asking if he's gone deaf. He's about to strike him, but just then Eugene grabs Verthal's hand, telling him to think twice before laying a finger on that bastard. Sending a boy whose only experience with a blade is kitchen knives is a death sentence, and has he really lost his mind? Verthal swats him away. He only wants to raise his little brother to be strong, and Eugene should know his place. He's in no position to be yanking a child around like a puppet. Eugene tells Verthal that he doesn't look like he's aware, but that child is now his servant. Verthal is speechless. He didn't expect this nobody knight to trap him in a checkmate. Even the girl Frederick is on Eugene's side. His whole mercenary band is behind him. He has the squad's respect, and he tells Verthal that he looks like he wants to loosen up his body before the dungeon exploration, and if so, he just needs to say the word to run the fade. Verthal backs off, asking who gave him permission to take another family's bastard child for his own. How dare he block his beloved brother's future? He hears all the knights talk about Eugene, and how reassured they are that they have knights commanding them. If not for the Galfredic and Eugene, what would have happened? Verthal realizes that this guy is not easy to deal with. He has street cred on his side. Everyone is on his side and Kamara smiles, saying that he has no problem trusting his brother to Eugene. After all, he's 16, and he has already gone through his coming-of-age ceremony. Our adults should choose their own path. Verthal looks at his entire plan falling apart. One here is safe behind Eugene, and another one is backing them up. Eugene knows that once the weak become the target of a predator, it's not easy to survive. Even if they hold their breath, the beast will chase them to the ends of the earth. They can only survive by forming a pack, and that's what he has done. The entire pack is together, and even girl Frederick is in the middle of it. A knight tells them that there are no roamers nearby. Everything is safe, and they can proceed with the dungeon opening. Both of them smile and look at the gate creaking open. Eugene and Frederick smile. Girl Frederick tells them that their lives are in their own hands as he tells them to advance. Kamara and Felid smile, telling Eugene to take care of himself and may God watch over them. The dungeon is dark as they make their way towards the center. The battle has already commenced, with goblins swarming the group from every angle. They're issued in a bloody battle. Galfredic has no problem holding his own, but the mercenaries are more useless than Gen Z employers in corporate. One of them yells that he didn't sign up for this. Galfredic yells at them to stay in formation and go back to their positions. The archers must defend the center and the ceiling. The archers shoot a volley of arrows, managing to bring death upon a horde of goblins. They must not let the goblins break their formation. The tanks are holding off against the goblin onslaught, as the archers take them down one after another. One of the idiots yells that he didn't sign up for this. Volunteering for a dungeon open subjugation was stupid. After re-evaluating his life choices, he decides to run away. Maybe he should head back towards the entrance, and that's a big rookie mistake, as a horde of goblins are waiting to clap his cheeks. The man starts bowing to the goblins as if that would do anything. Galfredic manages to kill the horde, saving the useless bum, and telling him, did he really think monsters wouldn't be blocking the way he just came? He yells at the guy to pull himself and grow a pair. The safest he will ever be is by sticking together. He shoves the guy towards the group, telling him to raise the sword and get back in position. He looks at the mercenary band, doing a poor job of holding off goblins. The mercenaries are not good enough to handle it, and he already gathered them to have numbers on his side. But how the hell is he supposed to conquer the dungeon with such a useless staff? One of the mercenaries yells at Galfredic that more goblins are coming in. More monsters are pushing in from the rear, things are turning south, and they have to switch to a two-man formation. Eugene steps in like a boss, telling them that he'll take the rear. Galfredic tells the Vampire King that it's dangerous to go alone, but he has already disappeared into the night. Only screams echo through the cavern, and his mask comes flying through the darkness. Galfredic wonders if his brothers, in arms, have already met his fate. He tells everyone to cover his tracks while he rushes in, ready to help his bro. How far did he even go in that brief moment? He finally approaches and looks at Eugene in a whole new light. His face is bathed by the glow of a blue spider Mirian. He tells Galfredic he has killed all the monsters coming from the crossroad, and he also found this treasure. Right now, his face card is off the charts, his beauty ethereal, and mind none. Paydek and the others are glad that he's safe, and they're also surprised that he doesn't know what glow grass is. But how can he be so strong that he took down a whole group of monsters by himself? Later, the entire mercenary band is lounging around, taking care of goblin corpses, and just kicking it back and relaxing. A group of mercenaries comes to Eugene, telling him that here's his share of mana crystals. It's small. Eugene looks at them unimpressed, and Mirian claps back, saying that the higher quality ones are those that belong to bigger monsters. The bigger and meaner the monster, the bigger the magic core. Wild roamers usually have bigger cores, and a monster in a dungeon becomes a roamer if it leaves the dungeon and goes out into the wilderness. The alligator Eugene evolved and adapted to get his glow up, which was stronger than most monsters. It was even strong enough to get Mirian's territory. Obtaining that red mana crystal was the biggest jackpot he ever hit, and at this rate, doing favors for the nobles and coming into dungeons might be pointless if he doesn't get to throw hands with a meaner monster. Speaking of a meaner monster, a Groll interrupts their rest, and Goldfrederick tells them to get off their asses and get ready to work. He looks at the band of ragtag mercenaries. They look like they're about to pass out from exhaustion and fear. He yells that he will take on the front lines along with Sir Eugene, and all they have to do is not be idiots and stay around the back. Even though Eugene's new to dungeon conquering, he's surprised to be at the front lines. The monsters they're about to face will be a whole new breed. Goldfrederick smiles, patting Eugene, calling him his besto friendo, and for him to look up ahead. The monsters now have intellect. The dungeon will probably be using the goblins as their soldiers. In other words, they're about to face intermediate-level monsters, and if they kill them, high-level monsters will be waiting for them. The mercenary band is about to wet their pants, but Eugene is excited. Right after he consumed the red mana crystal held by the roamer, he gained a very useful ability, black scales, and also the ability to use the N-word since he has black scales to cover his body. And if he consumed another one like that, maybe he'll get another ability. Eugene tells Goldfrederick that there are 50 footsteps, and they are 100 meters away from them. Heavier ones are at the back. Goldfrederick is surprised and throws him a javelin, telling him to go nuts. Eugene throws it like a comet, slamming through enemy lines and bringing carnage to all the monsters as Goldfrederick yells at them to get ready. They're about to throw hands and smoke some monsters. Everyone needs to follow and support Eugene. Eugene tears through the monsters. Trolls fall like cotton candy. Goblins are torn like paper confetti. All of the knights look at Eugene, go on a rampage, slicing monsters' eyes and tearing through their fingers, bringing his blade into an arc of death and delving into the curtain of blood. On that day, the band had engraved something much different from the image of the knight they long admired. Looking at Eugene, tears through the monsters, the image of noble swordmanship, upright and an unyielding nobility, a figure at the height of humanity and dignity, was shattered, because this knight was unlike any they had ever seen before. Rather, his style was beyond their imagination. It was the style of a bloody beast, bringing death and carnage upon its prey. Galfredic is taking a break, and all of the mercenaries are shaken by the carnage they just witnessed. They're sitting in a sea of bodies, some of them belonging to monsters and some of them belonging to their comrades. Galfredic knows that their combat power has lost the ability to push forward because of the battle they just witnessed. Physical fatigue is not what's holding them back, but PTSD from seeing Eugene in action, tearing spines out like party streamers and bathing himself in a sea of blood. He's not sure if they can advance more than they've already had. He tells Eugene that they've met their target and it's about time they withdraw. Eugene tells Galfredic that he's not tired yet. They're not sure when the next subjugation will be, and it feels like a waste to turn back now. If they want to go back, they can return. Galfredic decides to back up his brother by telling the mercenaries they have no choice. They'll be pushing forward through the pain. Eugene tells Galfredic that he needs to take the subjugation party and head out of the dungeon. From now on, only his mercenaries will proceed with him. Blondie and the captain rush towards Eugene, ready to back him up. The other mercenaries sigh in relief. They thought they were going to be dragged to their graves. And Galfredic is shaken that Eugene noticed the soldiers' fatigue and chose to be considerate of them. A warm heart with a steely exterior. He's making Galfredic reconsider what makes a knight a knight. Eugene then heads off with Captain and Blondie. Blondie, on the other hand, is looking around sheepishly, wondering why he is swept up in this mess. As his biggest glazer, it's only natural that he accompanies him. Sir Eugene can take down a troll by slamming his hand. If something happens, he's sure that they'll be protected. Just then, he steps on a spider, and the entire cave glows with the radiance of 1,000 tiny red eyes. They look at spiders clinging to the ceiling. These are cave-grade spiders, a spider-type monster that lives in groups that melt and consume anything with a powerful acidic poison. Blondie screams like Zenitsu from Demon Slayer, saying there are too many of them, and the captain tells Eugene that they must fall back. Eugene wonders who decided that. He zooms through the spiders with his blade, tearing them apart and telling the captain that these numbers are nothing to him. The captain immediately calls out to Rabin. They're going to join Sir Eugene, and they're going to go down fighting and back him up. Rabin screams, and he is looking more like Zenitsu with each passing panel. He screams at the monster demons, asking to be saved. Just then, a sword tears through the monsters surrounding him. Rabin looks at Eugene. He then grabs his blade and gets up, but it's already over. All of the spiders are slain. Next time I find a spider in my shower, I'm going to call Sir Eugene. Rabban wonders if his lordship is a monster or a knight. He's incredible, whatever he is. And now is the time to turn back. Isn't that right, Captain? He turns to look at the captain, but the captain is frozen in place, in fear. He wasn't sure they would run into this monstrosity. Even among the roamers within the same species, they are of different ranks. It is something they can never encounter in a dungeon. But here they are, a ridiculous-sized spider, a higher-ranked variant of the cave-grade spider. The Lord of the Spiders, a grotesque bubbling mass of flesh and talons. He looks at the fanged spider, telling Eugene that they need to retreat. They can't hold their own against a higher-ranked spider lord. At the very least, they should come back with Sir Gull, Frederick. Eugene calls them with the air of authority, telling them to withdraw at once. His eyes burn with red light as he tells them that this monster is his prey. The captain immediately bows his head and wonders why. It feels as if he has lost control of his body, as he runs away along with Rabban. As if every nerve is screaming to get away from here, Miriam laughs. It looks like their instincts have surrendered to the difference in strength between them. All his vampire abilities are at play. Eugene asks about the Lord thing and the rumor being on the same level. Miriam says that it might be stronger than the crocodile he faced, and in case, the mana crystal should be bigger. Eugene smirks. It looks like he'll be eating good tonight. The monster roars in defiance, and Eugene tells the rumor to struggle all it likes. The harder the raisin, the sweeter the pit. He's excited to crack him open and get that juicy mana fruit. A itsy-bitsy spider is dangling from a silk thread before being sliced in half by Eugene, who is sitting out in the open in direct sunlight without combusting into a fireball. Turns out the second ability he gained after eating the mana crystal belonging to the Spider Lord is camouflage. By protecting his skin with black scales and using camouflage to hide the scales and show off human skin, he can now stand directly under sunlight without causing any problems. Muzan should be taking notes from our boy. The troublesome issue of having to avoid sunlight has been brought to an end. A voice asks Eugene why he ever put on a mask. Right now, everyone is enjoying the festival. Rabban is being bullied by Galfredic in high spirits, and our boy is surrounded by noble baddies who tell him that hiding such a beautiful face behind a mask is a crime. It's his cruelty to the world, and they also want to hear what happened in the dungeon. Eugene knows that what they really want is for him to explore their dungeons one after another. They're fawning over him because he took down a great spider lord all by himself. Miriam teases him that he's going to get sucked dry out here, even teasing that she also wants to hear his heroic tales. All of the baddies have eyes on him, calling him beautiful and wondering if he has the blood of an elf in his lineage. Eugene wasn't sure how to respond. It's as if things are getting stickier, but as fate would have it, the big oaf of a knight zooms towards Eugene, saying that it all makes sense. His eyes are sharp even in the dark, his ears are keen like a wild dog's, and his reflexes are cat-like, and his monstrous strength is off the charts. When he threw the spear, he couldn't figure it out, but now it all makes sense. Eugene's face turns paler, wondering if the gig is up and he'll have to flee by turning into a bat. Galfredic, on the other hand, smiles, saying that he must have elven blood flowing through his veins. The beauties, on the other hand, look at Galfredic blushing and wondering if he is huge where it matters. Galfredic says that with his killer looks, it must have been hard not to stand out, and how did he manage to hide himself all this time? Eugene wasn't expecting this oaf to be so sharp. He puts on his riz, saying that he never tried to hide himself on purpose. That one look is enough to have anyone fall in love with him. The hussies, Orban, and even Galfredic. Galfredic wonders how he can say that without changing his expression. Eugene just snorts in annoyance. This is a typical seeing what they want to see behavior, but it's great that the suspicions have cleared, and he can use the excuse of having an elf in his ancestors when he's pointed out. When he gained the second ability, he also noticed a mark vanishing from his body just like before, and a memory flooded into his mind. He saw himself lying in an unknown place as a soft hand held his own. In the unfamiliar space, there was a bell ringing, and everyone had their eyes on him. There was also a beautiful woman in his memories, and he's not sure if those memories belong to him, because he can't remember a thing about his past. The only thing he remembers is his name. Galfredic tells Eugene that he heard that Rabban became dead weight out in the open, and Rabban starts complaining that it's only because Eugene is nothing like a normal human who would have run away. Galfredic wonders if he's calling Eugene a monster. Eugene closes his eyes, wondering if he can erase all the marks one after another and find out more about himself. That way he won't have to play being a knight or having elven blood. He will know who he truly is. Later, they gather in the Lord's chamber as the Lord meets up with Galfredic and Eugene. They both introduce themselves with the proper etiquette, and Eugene is presented with a certificate of identification so that he won't have to have his existence questioned every now and then. Miriam smiles, and Eugene is grateful. The Lord coughs violently. It looks like his time is about to end. He tells Kamara to take care of his brothers, and he worries about Verthil and his ambitions. Kamara promises to take care of the lands and his domain, but the Lord tells his son that the domain is nothing but dust. What a Lord must take care of is his people. Everyone looks at the Lord silently as his hand goes limp. A lot of people are grieving his death. Everyone in the room except for Verthil, who is on the verge of another crash out. As the sun starts to set, Galfredik turns to leave, apologizing because he has a schedule. He also wonders if Eugene is about to stay over here. Eugene wants to go to the dungeon one more time. It would be a waste to leave it after going through the top roll of opening it. Galfredik scratches his head. If the Count ever heard of him, he would have his sponsorship. He reaches out, asking Eugene that he hopes they won't meet as enemies next time around. They shake hands, and Galfredik turns to leave. The captain also smiles, saying that it's time to get Eugene a horse since all knights ride horses. They're going to the trading company, and they will also sell the monster's byproducts. Little Bro is excited to help out his savior, only to be told to stay back. He doesn't need to help right now. Presently, he is working at the docks in the kingdom of Keller, the greatest commerce city, Marin. The city is bustling with activity, and Rabin is boasting about how all of their dungeon products are brought in by a single knight. A knight as great as the paladin going by the name of Sir Eugene. Everyone murmurs about Eugene, the new knight who appeared not too long ago in the dungeon opening quest. A knight who can supposedly rip off a troll's head while it's still alive. One of the merchants tries to grab a pile of loot to sell, and Rabin tells him to get his stinky hands off. Only a befitting merchant can deal with it. Felid, on the other hand, is laboring hard. He knows that Eugene is the talk of the town, and currently Eugene is meeting with the head of a trading company, Bill Moore. Bill Moore smiles, saying that he will personally take on handling his products. Eugene didn't expect to be introduced to such a high-ranking merchant. It looks like Patek was right about introducing him to a top-class merchant. It's useful for someone like him who doesn't know about human social networks. Just when they are going over an exclusive contract for Bill Moore to handle all of Eugene's products, someone bursts into the room asking which one of them Eugene is. They look at the newcomer. Patek whispers that this could get a bit awkward. This man is the secretary working directly under the deputy manager of this trading company. The man cocks his head asking, "Who is it?" He's rude as hell, and Patek says that he's someone with more influence and power than Bill Moore, the man they are currently dealing with. Maybe he's here to snatch their byproducts at a lower price. And if they want a stable trading relationship, they need to be careful. Bill Moore nervously tells Grail that Eugene is already negotiating for an exclusive contract, but Grail has his head high up in the clouds. He tells Bill Moore to step aside and not challenge someone he can't beat. She doesn't see any contracts here, so it's obviously just talk. He tells Eugene that there's talk all over the harbor that he's the knight who ripped off a troll's head with his bare hands and brought a mountain of byproducts. Grail suspects that that's nothing but exaggerated rumors spread to inflate his good value. A newbie trying to act tough. He tells Eugene that the deputy manager wants to sign a contract with him personally, and they should get out of this shabby place. To Grail, Eugene is nothing but a dirt-poor knight who only knows how to swing a sword. He wants to haul him off and strip him down to the bone. But something about him makes him reevaluate his life choices. There's an air of intimidation around Eugene, an air so strong that it's enough to have Grail apologize for his rudeness, introducing himself as the secretary of the managing company, and it will be a good opportunity for Eugene. As the master negotiator, Eugene just repeats the last word Grail said: opportunity. What kind of opportunity? That's enough to have Grail sweating in his boots, saying that it's an opportunity to sell his byproducts under better terms. Eugene says, better terms. That sends off Grail into a panic attack, saying that the deputy manager would personally. Eugene whispers, his eyes glowing. The deputy manager would personally. Grail is about to pass out from panicking. He apologizes if he has offended him. He never meant to be discourteous. And Eugene once again wonders, discourteous. He apologizes and runs away with his tail between his legs, promising to visit another time. Eugene Billmore is moved by how amazing his negotiation tactics were. He rejected a contract with the deputy manager for Billmore, and for that he offers his unwavering support. If Eugene needs anything, he just needs to say the word. Eugene tells Billmore to get ready. They're about to start their first business contract. Later, Grail bows before a baddie with a red ponytail, apologizing for failing. The woman tells him it's fine and he should raise his head. Knights are difficult to deal with. They make things difficult for their pride and honor. And if that's the case, then maybe they should make things difficult for them. After all, they have money and goods on their side, and their opponent is a dirt-poor knight who doesn't even have a horse. Maybe they should deliver a gift to him, a gift that a penniless knight can't hope to refuse. Later, Felid is told to stay back and sell products at the harbor while Eugene and the gang go hunt monsters. He needs to keep selling monster products while he is here. Felid wonders why he has to stay back. Is he so useless with the sword that he can't follow Eugene? He promises to start training this instant. Eugene curtly tells Felid that he's a retainer, and that means supporting him in battle and in daily life. What he needs to do right now is support him in his daily life by selling byproducts and accumulating money. That's the mission that he, Felid's knight, is assigning him. He tells Bill Moore to go over the details with Felid. This will be a learning opportunity for the boy as well. Eugene is crestfallen, and Felid looks away. If not for the knight, he would have died a long time ago. Throwing a tantrum over something like that is not what he should do. But his eyes light up as Eugene says that they have some funds saved up, and he'll consider teaching him the sword once they have enough money. He smiles, telling Felid to support him in battle in the future as well. This gives Felid a sense of belonging. He smiles and promises to follow him to the ends of the earth. Later, Eugene is buying the essentials, and he doesn't have a penny left. Even Miriam remarks that seeing the empty coin pouch is enough to break her heart. They see beautiful armor. Batik says that this is a plate armor. Every knight dreams of it, and it is made by the designer Tony Stark. It's expensive as hell and even passed on as an heirloom between generations. Just then, Rabin rushes in, full Zenitsu energy, saying that a huge roamer horde has appeared in the town. They are trying to push into the city, and the local guild can't hold them off. He tells Eugene that they should participate in the subjugation. When Eugene wonders why, Raban strikes a pose, saying that, unlike dungeons where they have to pay commission fees, this place is a merchant city overflowing with capital. It's a perfect location to sell monster byproducts and have no transport costs. In other words, it's a huge pile of money if they can get on it. Eugene immediately switches up, telling the gang that it's time to go clap some monster cheeks. There's no time to hesitate. Just then, Grail arrives with a black horse, saying that it's a gift from the deputy manager, a horse with rippling muscles, smooth pelt, a thoroughbred with its own pedigree. Eugene wonders if the deputy manager is giving her this. The man says that it's not because she wants anything, but it's a gift. Eugene stares intensely at the horse, and the horse stares intensely at him, as if a muscle and mind connection is forming. He then gets on the horse, telling him that he's grateful, before galloping away. Robin and the others run after Eugene. At the outer border, the goblins are already looting knights. Eugene arrives and kills the goblins in one fell swoop, telling them to get ready. The hold must be huge if the monsters are out in the open, and he's not feeling like shearing loot today. He gallops through like the wind, bringing death upon the trolls and the goblins. A group of trolls is surrounding a pretty boy knight with blonde hair. He tells everyone that they'll have to pass over his dead body before entering the city. The trolls roar as if that sounds like a good idea. Their roar is enough to send the knight's horse galloping away in fear, leaving its rider out in the open. The knight tries to act tough, saying that in the name of the city, the Knight of Justice Madrika, someone slams his foot against him. He looks at a group of trolls looking at him and realizes that he is about to get his cheeks slapped. He starts crying, asking for help, and just then, the hero of death arrives, galloping on his dark steed. He continues to slay trolls left and right, saving Madrika from being featured on Cornhub. Madrika smiles, promising to owe him for life and asking for his name. Eugene looks at him coldly before slaying another troll. His name is not important right now. What's important is to survive. Madrika smirks, sounds like a plan. He grabs his sword again, promising to learn his name once they return from this hell on earth. They continue to slay ogres left and right. Later, Madrika tells everyone that hundreds of goblins were rushing to this great city of merchants, like a swarm of ants. They fought till the very end, and he was one of the knights who slayed the goblins without mercy, and in the end, they were able to secure victory. Everyone wonders who the second knight was who helped him, and Madrika smiles with a face as serious as someone from Jotaro's Bizarre Adventure. He tells them that the second knight is Eugene. Everyone erupts into gossip. Isn't that the same knight who went on the dungeon opening quest, and who is rumored to pull spines out of living trolls? The honorable knight protected their city. Our boy has gotten even more street cred. The deputy manager looks at his name being chanted, and a man says that his fame grows more, and it's harder for him to control the new hero. This is Louis, ex-representative of the trading company. He tells his grandchild, Prechella, to be wary of the new knight, but Prechella says that everything is going according to plan. Right now, she is hoping that Eugene becomes even more famous. After all, the higher a bird soars, the greater it fears its fall. She also asks if Louis knows who Eugene's squire is, the child who has been supplying them with the byproducts Eugene brings. The child, after investigation, turns out to be a hidden love child of the Terwin family. Louis smirks and realizes what Prechella is doing. Eugene must be trying to secure a huge fund through business to sponsor the illegitimate son of the Terwin family. Prechella smiles. If they can secure them, they might be able to build a relationship with the future head of the Terwin family. Louis smiles, as expected of his granddaughter. It looks like even he will have to give Eugene a gift for saving the city, though internally, he just wants to bribe Eugene. He promises to send Prechella so that she can work out the details. Later that night, Prechella wonders about how thirsty someone will be when standing at the edge of a watering well. As a merchant, she only has to do one thing: dig a well before a thirsty man. She'll wait until he restlessly drinks the water. She stands ready to greet Eugene, welcoming him as the city's hero. Eugene arrives with a rocking armor, red highlights, and an obsidian breastplate, the finest there is. Eugene thanks Prechella and the trading company for the generous gifts. After all, Prechala knows that he is the beauty of a man and a terrifying knight who can decapitate a troll with his bare hands. He's different from the knights she has met. She smiles, saying that the armor is a gift from their mirror. She commissioned it from the best workshop in the city, made of a special steel by mixing iron with ogre bones, giving it hardness even a dragon's fangs cannot pierce. Eugene says that he can count on his strength in the next subjugation, but more than that, he is grateful for the great lodging and food he has received. His mercenary band is in top shape because of that, and that's why he's thankful. Prechala smiles, saying that in that case, maybe they should get down to business. But Eugene tells her that he's a busy person and he'll be leaving. Prechala didn't expect the knight to just leave after getting a gift that 1,000 years of slavery couldn't buy him. Eugene promises to drop by once the subjugation is over, and as his contract is limited to the byproduct, this might be their farewell. Prechala bites her lip in anger. She bursts out, calling him shameless. They have more things to talk about. He can't play dumb. He has gifted him the best expensive full-plate armor and a war horse with a pedigree, and also the highest quality of hotels and lodging. The byproducts he has sold to the company are not nearly enough to pay for half of the services he has received, and is he really going to pretend he doesn't know what's going on? Didn't he learn how the world goes when he was a squire? Did he not know that the people who are praising him will find out that he's a shameless knight with no honor, that their hero is just a sham? Prechala wonders if she'll really have to spell out everything for him. Eugene smiles for her to try to order him around on their first meeting and dump unwanted gifts on him as she pleases, and then demand payment for those gifts is true shamelessness. Is it a mere merchant trying to threaten him? Prechala and Grail sweat. They realize they're not dealing with an ordinary knight. Eugene turns around, telling them that he'll clear the misunderstanding for them. He already has a contract with Bill Moore with the company, and as long as they keep buying goods from him, he couldn't care less about what the people think about him. But as she says, everything has a price. She can go ahead and run her mouth as she likes, but she'll be the one who will have to pay the price after that. In a chilling voice, he calls her the deputy manager of the filing trading company. From where he stands, it looks like the company is working with the mayor of the city to persecute a knight who saved it. If things go as they are, then when the next crisis comes around, not a single knight will be willing to step forward in the city to save it, and he said all he wanted to say. Now he'll be going. One of his mercenaries apologizes to the deputy manager, saying it's unfortunate, but if her approach had been different, they could have built a good relationship. Prechala realizes that she has poked the wrong sleeping tiger. She calls out to Eugene, telling him to wait, and surprisingly, the proud girl bows, apologizing for being rude, and offers her deepest apologies. Her desire to gain the upper hand in their relationship clouded her judgment, and to atone for rudeness, they want to start things over. He can keep the contract he has with Bill Moore, just add a few clauses that won't be a problem for him. Internally, she's screaming. She has seen enough nights when dogs wag their tails the moment they receive expensive support. But this guy is different. He is too dangerous to toy with, and maybe that's why her merchant's instincts are screaming not to let him go. Like a needy ex clinging to her boyfriend, she's desperate to get his validation, and surprisingly, our boy decides to hear her out. However, the offer must be too good to refuse. The deputy manager thanks them for the opportunity and gets down to business. Later, Miriam is fawning over Eugene, who looks like a proper knight now. From a goblin-faced balding sack of trash, he has turned into a beautiful knight with shining armor and a god-tier horse. She boasts that Eugene is the coolest in the whole world, and Eugene is not sure about the hype he is receiving. They have a favorable contract with the company. The company's influence is large, and it can't be ignored. They have hundreds of branches all across the Roman Empire, and it's better than getting a noble house to back them. The company offers them unlimited mediation for dungeons or liberates connecting to each branch, and it's really generous. Better than getting a formal appointment from a noble house. He tells Eugene that his tactic was amazing, and Eugene says that he just said that because he was annoyed. A voice whispers that someone wrapped in shiny armor doesn't make him a knight. They wonder who this hating piece of trash is. It's a bald man with a beer belly, telling Eugene that he has a pretty face but can even hold a sword properly. Miriam wonders why this rotten potato-faced guy is being Eugene's hater. Kamara arrives, telling Eugene that he's on time. Eugene calls him Lord Terwin now that he is the formal heir of the domain. He asks for the rundown on the situation, and it turns out Verthel has hired a new band of mercenaries that feel a little different from the last one. There's something nasty about them, just like the previous mercenaries that were supposed to go collect Felid from the village. So it's only natural to let Eugene be the commander of the party. As they turn to leave, Baldy wonders what will happen if Eugene dies in the dungeon. Will he become the commander? All of the mercenaries laugh disgustingly. The Baldy says that it's not like they're going on a picnic. It's only natural to go for countermeasures. Eugene is not bothered by this talking waste of space. He tells them that if he dies, Baldy can become captain of the squad. They turn to leave, and Miriam yells that he's a bastard. Eugene knows that this is one of Verthel's tricks to get rid of him down in the dungeon, where no one is walking and watching. But it might be fun. Rather than hunting monsters, he'll be hunting scumbags. Miriam even laughs hysterically before plunging into darkness. They take care of the goblins before making their way into the deepest part of the dungeon. Baldy realizes that Eugene is not only a pretty face but a deadly foe. It's as if he has the strength of 100 men, and throwing himself in the front line is like having an impenetrable shield at the front of the squad. He'll have to wait for an opening and get the poison-coated sword through his armor. Later, Eugene tells everyone to get ready. From here on out, only those who can vouch for themselves should proceed. He can't guarantee their lives. The squad smirks. This is their chance to act, and they decide to go along. Robin also wants to go, but Patik tells him that they'll stay here. He picks up on the vibe and tells Robin that Eugene has a different agenda on mind. They walk through the caverns, and he is desperately missing Galfredic. Eugene knows that he's an excellent leader, raising morale at the right moment and taking dangerous positions by himself. He might have been able to clear the dungeon with this sorry group of mercenaries, and he also wonders if Galfredic were here, how would he handle the situation? Baldy and the squad are holding torches, and Eugene realizes that the time to act is over. He calls out to Miriam, who creates a stream of water, extinguishing all of their torches and plunging them into darkness and panic. No one can see. Well, no one except for Eugene with his serpentine eyes. Eugene walks through them like a walking calamity, bringing death and carnage upon them and draining them of their blood. It continues for a full 5 minutes before Baldy desperately tries to create a spark with 2 stones. He's panicking so bad that he has gone into factory mode and turned into a caveman. With no light, the situation is turning trickier as he continues to rub the flints together. A voice asking if he's having trouble lighting a fire. Eugene speaks softly behind his ear. Baldy realizes that he's about to get his cheeks clapped. As soon as the torch finally lights up, he comes face to face with the fallen body of the spider, Lord as well as his comrades. Eugene smiles, and Baldy realizes that he has fudged up by getting this contract. He calls him a monster before Eugene bares his fang. It is raining heavily at the manor as Kamara bursts into the room, asking Sir Eugene what's going on. Eugene just looks at them cruelly with crimson eyes. They wonder if it's really true. Verthel wonders what all of this commotion is about. Eugene says they'll hear it directly from the person involved. He throws Baldy in front of them. They look at Baldy, bruised, battered and full of scratches. Baldy looks like he's lost his mind, bloodshot, as he whispers that he tried to kill his lord. He tried to kill Eugene on Verthel's orders. Verthel laughs nervously, saying that this man is always on drugs and now he's lost it. Kamara yells at his brother, asking how far is he planning to go to play with human lives. Verthel tells Kamara that it's not like that, and he's the one who needs to come to his senses. Is he really going to believe the words of someone who don't they know over his flesh and blood? Verthel looks at the Baldy desperately, telling him to stop babbling nonsense and speak clearly. It looks like our boy gave him the Diddy treatment. His eyes glow with a familiar crimson light as he wonders how he can lay a hand against his lord. He rushes towards the window, yelling that trash like him deserves to die, promptly bursting through the window, ready to unalive himself. Kamara yells for the Baldy to stop, but it's too late. He splatters against the concrete. Verthel whispers that it's clear. He lost his mind after seeing a person being ripped into shreds by a monster. Kamara points out that it's weird that Verthel is relieved that someone died. Verthel realizes that the hole he has dug himself into is getting smaller. He tells Eugene, where is his pride as a knight to slander against him? Eugene wonders if it's honor that he talks about. Then maybe they should stake their honor in a trial by combat to see who is right and who is wrong. Verthel grits his teeth in frustration, accepting the duel. Everyone is gossiping about what happened, about how Verthel ordered an assassination, and how he's nothing but trouble for the domain, and now he's facing Sir Eugene. Verthel grips his sword and so does Eugene. Kamara tells them to solve the trial as God intended, through swinging their blades. May God give guidance to the winner. Verthel rushes in ready to strike Eugene, where Eugene parries it with his sword effortlessly. Verthel goes on the offensive while Eugene just ducks. He remembers his past life and how he was tormented by the very man he's facing right now for 10 whole years. To think that he was chased by such a weakling for over a decade is unthinkable. He sends Sir Verthel flying and disarms him effortlessly, like a monster out of our vengeance. He tells Verthel to grab his blade again. They're not done with their little tango. Verthel looks like he's reevaluating his life choices. His swordmanship is by no means inferior, but at that moment everyone knew anyone who didn't even know a thing about sword knew that Eugene was overwhelmingly stronger. In a single strike, Eugene relieves Verthel of his arm, condemning him to a life where he won't be able to pick up the sword. Kamara intervenes, telling Eugene that that's enough. He should spare Verthel. Eugene tells the Lord to step aside, but Kamara says that he can't watch his brother die. He is no longer capable of fighting, and thus he cannot prove his claim through the duel. Therefore, he is the victor. Verthel ignorantly says that he can still fight with his left arm. Kamara yells at his bro, telling him that he's cooked. He should stop this and rot in prison to repent for his crimes. Verthil yells, grabbing a sword and rushing towards him, asking why did Eugene have to step into his life. If only he had never appeared over here, he would never have suffered this humiliation. He swings his blade, but Eugene doesn't even dodge. Verthil wonders why. Why is his body not moving? Why is everything turning upside down? And why is his brother looking at him in horror? That's the last thing he can think about before his head rolls away from his body. Everyone looks at the fall at night in silence. Eugene quietly turns to leave as Kamara whispers, "Foolish little brother, really." Tells Eugene that it's a shame that he had to dispose of his first vampire slave. Eugene claps back that he was a weakling who couldn't become a familiar. It's only right for him to die, or else they would have realized that he's a vampire. Besides, he couldn't let someone live that bared his fangs at him. Miriam still insists that a vampire lord should have several slaves, though Eugene is not too sure about that. He wonders about familiars, and if he turns weaklings into vampires, cleaning after them would be more trouble than it's worth. Maybe he can find someone he actually likes to turn them. Her voice yells, Sir Galfredic is nowhere to be seen. The deputy merchant is talking with Belmore. They welcome him warmly, asking news about the dungeon subjugation. But Eugene tells them to move, asking what happened to Galfredic. The deputy manager explains that 2 weeks ago he disappeared in a subjugation, and they're told that he's missing alone inside the labyrinth. Immediately Eugene steps on his war horse and speeds through towards the labyrinth, ready to save his brother who has been unable to return from the high-ranking monster area. Eugene bursts into a room and is welcomed by Sir Javin, who has heard a lot about him and tells Eugene he is far younger and more handsome than the rumors claim. Eugene bows respectfully, thanking him for the warm reception. Javin tells them to head inside so they can talk. It looks like Sir Galfredic let his ambition get the better of him. He claims that Galfredic was going to be appointed a knight after the raid, and they didn't expect him to burst into the upper levels on his own. Eugene finds it hard to believe that he acted on his own, but Javin tells him that that's right. The upper levels are restricted because the house has been unable to touch the upper levels for 100 years. That place is where the so-called master of the labyrinth lives. Hearing about the monster is enough to have Eugene's blood pumping. Another guy says that it's a being that rules over the entire labyrinth, and Sir Galfredic was blinded by bringing down the Lord. He pressed forward recklessly and has now caused everyone trouble. Sir Javin introduces the other guy as their territorial knight, Sir Lugitz. He was the one who led the party together with Galfredic at the time. Lugitz greets Eugene, saying that he heard a rumor that he defeated Galfredic in a duel, and that's something that they share in common. It turns out that this, Sashuk Waneb, is the second person to defeat Galfredic in the tournament, and they're both people who have defeated him. Eugene wonders if this is really a meat measuring contest when their friend's life is on the line. Javin knows that Galfredic is too talented to lose, and he apologizes to Eugene for the situation. From what he has heard, Eugene and Galfredic share a rather deep friendship. Javin realizes that fruity rumors are spreading about him. He imagines the brute of a man claiming Eugene as his besto friendo. Even Miriam is laughing her head off, and Javin says that for a friend to risk his life and come here on his own is praiseworthy. For the past 100 years, their house has tried several times to clear the upper level, but to no avail. The entire party was missing, and if someone goes missing for over a month, then they have to be proclaimed dead. Similarly, 3 weeks have passed since Sir Galfredic has been missing, and if they don't find him within the remaining week, then there will be no hope. Eugene's eyes widened in surprise and horror. He shoots out of his chair, promising to depart immediately, but Javin tells him to take it easy. The labyrinth is not somewhere they can stroll around, like a marketplace. They will need 3 days to prepare a search party, along with Sir Lugitz. Something feels off about their whole chill vibe. They are not worried that Galfredic might be a monster's chew toy by now. Eugene thanks them, and he is also told that there is a mage who will assist him for additional support. Later, they are bad-mouthing Javin for being a spiky-haired bastard. He also calls Lugitz Green Onion Guy, someone who is lacking in both looks and common sense, whose biggest achievement in life is beating Galfredic. Eugene feels something is off. Galfredic told him that he is going to be appointed to the court of Evergrow as soon as he returns, and he also told Eugene to accompany and make an impression as well. His appointment was set in stone. So what happened for him to be tested through a labyrinth test again? Why did they change their mind? But from what he's seen, Galfredic is not someone who acts on impulse, out of greed. He wouldn't even go into a labyrinth on his own. So how would he think about clearing the upper floors by himself? Something doesn't add up. Just then, he hears a cultist tell them about a prophecy that the goddess of victory will wipe out the human race. The calamity has begun, and tremors are causing the wild beasts of the mountain to die one after another. And not long ago, a highly skilled knight also disappeared. They need to sprinkle fresh blood of a calf and offer its meat as a ritual. Only then will a messiah descend and save them and their lands. Miriam wonders what this nonsense is, and Eugene says that this is a cult, and the whole atmosphere feels weird. He's even headed a flyer with a strange eye mark on top. Tremors are slipping through the labyrinth, and things are getting dire. He decides to head for the labyrinth, and just then a mage walks past him saying 3 days is not too long. they should head on their own, and she didn't think that she would see a vampire over here. Eugene feels the blood in his veins turn into ice. The mage smirks. She heard that thanks to the Holy Knight's hunt on its continent, vampires were almost wiped out, and yet here he is, walking around in broad daylight. Eugene and Miriam freeze in horror, wondering if the gig is up. He grabs the mage by the throat and drags her into the alley, slamming her against a wall and telling her to state her identity. How did she recognize him? If she doesn't answer, her throat will be crushed like a grapefruit. The mage stutters, saying that she is a blood shadow. Miriam wonders where she heard this before and realizes what a blood shadow is. She yells at Eugene to let her go. That woman's a mage. She's from Blood Shadow School, a school of mages that served vampires for generations. Eugene lets her go, but she's already passed out. Later, she complains about being choked without even going on a date first. Is there any way to treat a woman? Eugene apologizes, and Miriam crashes out that she was the one who spoke like a villain. The mage introduces herself as Romari from the Blood Shadow School, which serves vampires as a retainer. Their school has a high affinity sensing vampire, so that's why she could meet her. She was also asked by Sir Javin to go after Eugene. After all, he shared a very deep friendship with Sir Galfredic. Eugene realizes that he's never going to beat the slander. He's going to shut Galfredic's mouth when he finds him. Romari then explains what happened the day of the subjugation. The Libranians were really hard to conquer, and everyone was moving forward with a sense of unease before the ground under them shattered. She almost fell to her death, but Galfredic helped her and pulled her up, but he was swallowed by the crevice. And there was something else she saw. A blazing light shaped as an eye glowed from where he fell, something that resembled the symbol on the flyer that the cult is handing out. Speaking of the cult, they're gathered together, making human sacrifices and waiting for their messiah to arrive. Everything is already arranged, and Lugat says that they are about to go on their rescue operation. He asks Eugene if he is excited to meet his close friend again, and he wishes that they wouldn't need to use this squad to transport a corpse. Eugene tells Lugats that Galfredic is not the sort to die easily anyway, and Lugats burst out laughing, saying that he seems to put his trust in Galfredic. To be honest, Eugene wanted to enter the labyrinths a long time ago, but after he heard that Galfredic's disappearance was not an accident, he needed to watch Lugats closely. If Galfredic has endured 3 weeks, then another 3 days won't kill him. He desperately wants to believe that. Just then, a group of holy knights arrives, introducing themselves as working under the Church of House Evergrow. It's an honor to fight beside a devout knight such as Eugene, and they are moved by how he risked himself for his friend, and in the name of God, they want to fight together. Miriam burst out laughing. If only they knew that they were talking to a vampire. Even Eugene tells them to do their best. Normally, Templars only follow God's orders, and it's rare for them to take an interest in a knight. Lugat smiles, telling Eugene that he can change into a holy knight after the mission. Eugene wonders about being a vampire holy knight. That whole existence would be a contradiction. He realizes something is off and still proceeds into the labyrinths. They decide to wait over here and not to let their guard down. The opening area is full of springs, and Miriam is amazed by the amazing water energy this place holds. Even Eugene is surprised. Unlike a dungeon, this is an artificial space created so that, at the bare minimum, survival is possible. And with monster meat over here and fresh water flowing, if the worst case scenario comes to be, he can hide at the labyrinth and live here. It's as if Lugats has read his mind, telling Eugene that it's a fitting place for evil things to lurk and hide. He also tells Eugene that his skills are top-notch and that not a single man died under his watch. Eugene wants to cut the small talk and asks where the spot is where Sir Galfredic disappeared. The man just smiles, telling him not to be impatient. Doesn't he trust his dear friend? Right now, the only one who should be trusted is Lugats. House Evergrove knows of the traps of the labyrinths. Eugene claps back that they are still casualties even if they know the layout. Lugats smiles disgustingly, saying that they are offering hope that they'll make it through as the labyrinth is alive. The entire thing feels off as the labyrinths start shaking and cracking. Eugene wonders if it's an earthquake. Lugats tells everyone to prepare themselves. The layout is starting to change. What in the Hogwarts is going on? The entire labyrinth starts breaking apart. Gears turn and platforms rise and fall. Romare yells that it's not an earthquake but the labyrinth remodeling itself. Just what is this supposed to be? Lugats smiles as a wall appears between them. He tells them to try their best to survive. Later, Eugene and Romare are left all alone as the labyrinth continues to change its layout. He realizes that Galfredic was framed the same way and caught in a trap. Romare tells Eugene to look over there, and his eyes widen in surprise and horror, because sitting in front of him is Galfredic, bruised, battered, unconscious, and tied to a cross. Eugene springs towards him in a single breath, gently caressing his cheek. He realizes Galfredic is alive, and if they get him out and treat him immediately, they might make it through. Miriam tells Galfredic that there's something off about this place. They turn to see a beast rise from the depths of hell, pinkish flames blazing around its maw. It's a Minotaur, an embodiment of destruction. Romer looks like she's about to pass out. Eugene tells Romer to protect Galfredic, and he zooms towards the Minotaur, leaping from boulder to boulder and swinging his blade with everything he's got. Surprisingly, it's not enough as Galfredic is blown away by the monster's Mexican breath. The same attack my dad uses after he's had tacos for lunch. He's blown away, and Eugene wonders what the hell is going on. A similar eye symbol blazes on top of the monster as it grows stronger, breaking the labyrinth apart and sending Galfredic falling into the abyss. Eugene zooms towards Galfredic, desperate to reach his friend, but a barrier stops him. He wails around in a bout of anger, asking Romer what the hell she is doing. Romer nervously reminds him that they're facing a Minotaur, a high-ranking monster. Even a vampire could die if he faces it head-on. Eugene grits his teeth, revealing his fangs and his fearsome eyes. He points his blade at Romer, telling her not to overstep her bounds. She apologizes but can't stand watching a vampire charge first to his death. He needs to cool his head and think strategically. She expected to face a Cyclops, but facing a Minotaur is the worst-case scenario. Just then, the wall behind them burst open, and Leogates arrived. To think that they survived, barely thanks to Sir Galfredic. He thought that he was just an eccentric who could make chimeras at best. Leogates says that he has underestimated the mage. He thought that she could only create chimeras, but it looks like she can use Earth's magic. But in truth, she didn't try to save Galfredic, now did she? Omari whimpers that what happened was too fast. Eugene grabs Leogates by the throat, furiously asking if he's responsible for turning Galfredic into a puppet. Leogates smiles, completely calm even though he has a vampire lord's fist around his throat. He tells Leogates that he's just a good guy who's reuniting two friends, and it looks like he's as rude as the rumors say. Surprisingly, Leogates grabs his arm and overpowers Eugene. Eugene is surprised and quickly clenches his fists to throw a punch. Romari wonders what it is, as the brute strength just now surpassed his. A bright purple signia blazes on Leogates' hand. Romari reveals that the pattern is a magical formula that lets someone inherit someone else's power. At first, it was a mode to let humans pass power between themselves, but later they started inheriting the power of non-human things and it was banned. It's a forbidden spell. Leogates smiles, forbidden or not. It's just a cowardly excuse to stop others from getting stronger. They are the chosen ones, and when despair descends on the earth, they'll be chosen by God to survive. Eugene now understands that this waste of space used borrowed power to beat Galfredic, and that was his only life's achievement. Red lightning crackles around him as he decides to show him the true distance between them. He zooms forward as a burst of violent energy clashes together. Romari wonders what incredible power an ordinary vampire can really unleash energy like that. Leogates just smiles, saying that he's not the only one who's hiding his strength. It looks like Eugene is a monster in his own self, but unfortunately for him, Leogates is by any means possible. He throws them into the same spot where the crevice appears. Eugene tells them that every labyrinth trap is memorized by them. They have the walkthrough guide, and they'll make sure that Eugene falls to his death. Eugene yells Romari's name, and she immediately creates a platform under his feet. He leaps from the platform, zooming towards Eugene, and brandishes his sword as the wall closes in front of Leogates. He pierces through the sword and grazes Leogates' cheek, but the sword is shattered by the closing walls. Leogates realizes that Eugene is stronger than he ever imagined. If they fought head-on, then he's not sure who would have won. Too bad he doesn't fight fair. He smiles for the final sacrifice has been offered. Romari uses energy platforms to break their fall over and over again. They finally land, and Romari tells Eugene to wait up. She looks around and wants to go back in time and pretend that she didn't know anything. What the hell is even going on? She then looks at Eugene, grabbing Galfredic, his eyes blazing with remorse and sadness. He asks Romari if she can save him, and she whispers that healing magic is not her specialty. That's not the answer to his question, he whispers. She realizes that her new lord is a rough employer. She promises to do her best and starts healing Galfredic. Mirian has checked all the entrances, and there's no way out. They are in the deepest end of the labyrinth, a sealed boss room, and more importantly, there's something off about the water that's surrounding them. A sea of blood surrounds them, and she can't control any of it despite being a water spirit. By principle, she can only control the blood of the dead, so it looks like the owner of this blood is still alive. Speaking of the owner, a dark shape emerges from the sea of blood, pinkish flames burning at the head of it. Romari gasps in surprise, Eugene grabs his broken sword, and Mirian falls into despair as they face the Minotaur, a walking calamity. Galfredic is in no shape to move, so what Eugene needs to do is immobilize the Minotaur. He zooms forward, and the Minotaur raises its fist, bringing it down. Eugene manages to dodge it by the breadth of his hair and tries to slash the monster's tendons, but its hide is too strong for the blade to pierce. It charges another mouthful of flames, but Eugene manages to dodge it with his cat-like reflexes. He's moving on demon time. Looking at his broken sword and realizing that he'll have to use something a little better, he uses his own blood to create a crimson saber. He zooms towards the Minotaur, crimson saber in hand, eyes flashing with danger, but the cut he's made is just too shallow. The monster smacks him away, and the difference in strength is just too much. Romari pleads with Galfredic to come out of it. His friend needs him. Eugene realizes that this monster is on a whole different level. He's been powerless his entire life. For the last 10 years, he was the church's chew toy. He should have been used to powerlessness, but right now it infuriates him. It hurts him to be in the same position despite getting powerful. Why? Why did history have to come to a full circle? He wonders. Galfredic opens his eyes and looks at his friend, about to be smashed into a pudding. Romari looks at her lord in horror. She's been warning him from the start not to go against the Minotaur, even if he's a noble vampire. Going against that walking calamity is that sentence. She looks at Galfredic in horror as well. There's nowhere left to run, and is this the end of the road for her? She closes her eyes, desperately praying for a miracle. Just then, Galfredic coughs a globule of blood, weakly looking at Eugene and apologizing for getting him involved. Romari yells that they must run away while they still can, but Galfredic refuses. Lugitz, that son of a gun, has used him as bait to get to Eugene. He was after Eugene from the start, and it's because he went around saying that Eugene was his best friend that he got involved. Currently, he looks at Eugene being impaled by a dark talon. Fear grips his heart. Resentment for being weak, he remembers the day he dueled Eugene. A relationship was formed because of his inner strength as well as his physical strength. That Galfredic was instantly charmed. He didn't want to let go of the opportunity to become friends, to become stronger together, standing side by side. But looks like that dream has come to an end due to this overgrown flaming piece of meat. He slowly gets up. Romari yells Galfredic's name as he shoves her away, asking Eugene to forgive him. A barrage of shadow talons zooms towards Eugene, each one packed with poison. Galfredic whispers that if he were to reincarnate, he hopes to be reborn as a knight who serves him well. He smiles sadly before shielding Eugene with his own body and calling him his friend one last time. Eugene looks at his one and only friend being impaled by the Minotaur's attack. Resentment and despair grip his heart as well as overwhelming rage. He grits his teeth in frustration, his fangs getting sharper and longer, and a burst of violent red light surrounds him. Romari looks at her lord being reborn in a cocoon of blood. The blood surrounding them starts swirling around Eugene. His eyes and sclera grow darker. The Minotaur doesn't know what hit him as one of its arms is cut clean off. The Minotaur looks around in confusion as Eugene steps away in a blood frenzy. His eyes are burned with crimson energy, and blood armor covers his body. Romari wonders what is going on. Eugene's body has gone through some kind of metamorphosis. The Minotaur raises its scythe, ready to bring Eugene to his knees, but Eugene refuses to yield. The blood puddle surrounding them is reacting to his presence. Romari realizes he is different from a run-out of the mill vampire. He might actually pull it off, and she might be witnessing history being made. Eugene grabs a ball of dark energy, black lightning crackling around him as he shoots it towards the Minotaur. Romari notices the blood puddles getting shallower by the minute. She walks around trying to discern what is happening. A high-ranking monster that heals using blood is way too unusual. If its critical energy is constantly healing, then they don't have any chance of winning. She looks at the Minotaur rod in defiance, a dark energy clinging to its body. She realizes that the maze is using blood to heal the monster. Eugene also realizes that and shoots towards its eye, piercing it with a one-swell kick. Romari realizes that the blood is coming from one of the eyes. Eugene then drags his attention to the vampire nemesis and destroys another eye. He looks around and realizes that the owner of the maze is not the Minotaur, and the people who have gone missing over the past couple of days were probably sacrificed to the maze. So it's the entire maze that is the god, not the guys. The guys are worshipping it and sacrificing it. He remembers the heretics sacrificing to the maze, calling for the Messiah to come forward and bring them into an age of destruction. Lugitz smiles disgustingly, asking dear God to become more wrathful with rage. He has opened their eyes, and now it's time for God to listen to his prayers. Romari realizes that the blood puddle has disappeared. Dark energy vibrates through the maze as a single eye protrudes out of the Minotaur's chest. The Minotaur also gets a massive power boost, sprouting wings and taking off at breakneck speed. It shoots through the upper levels, destroying them in the process. Romari can believe that a higher-ranking monster is escaping the dungeon. She has never heard of something so absurd. What should she do, as there is a town nearby? Miriam flies towards Eugene, saying that she has found an exit, but looking at the moonlight filtering through the broken roof is enough to make her realize that the exit is already here. She looks around, telling Eugene they need to get out of here, but she gasps in surprise, looking at Galfredic's body. His eyes are lifeless, and his body is caked with dried blood. Eugene walks towards his impaled friend, and Romari wonders if she is dreaming. A vampire is dreaming of the death of a mere human. He walks slowly towards his friend, caressing his cheek. Romari thinks that she has never heard of a vampire who hides his identity by being a knight and forming a bond with humans. Someone like that must have noble blood within him. Eugene closes his eyes and bares his fangs, reaching towards his friend, ready to give him another go at life. To bestow upon him the dark gift, the Minotaur zooms towards the sky, ready to bring carnage and destruction to the village. It sets its eyes towards the settlement and roars, ready to usher it into a new age of despair. Romari asks Eugene if he has ever heard of origin vampires. They are the highest-ranking nobles in the vampire world, and she was not sure when they first met, but she sees it now. He possesses the blood of an origin vampire. And another thing, an origin vampire can resurrect anyone who has recently died and make them into his subordinate. Eugene realizes what it means. He looks at Galfredic and now knows what he needs to do. But if he bites the target's neck and gives them a bit of his blood, he's not sure if they can handle it. The last one couldn't. Romari agrees that usually humans can't handle it, but this walking pile of muscle is built different, and she has heard from her previous master that a person with high mental fortitude can take an origin's blood. They can keep their sanity and their abilities from when they were a human, and it's worth a try. The only problem is that he's an honorable knight, so he might try to unalive himself and them for resurrecting him as a vampire. And if that happens, they won't be able to do anything. Eugene contemplates, wondering what he should do. On one side, he can let his friend die an honorable death. At another, he can give him a new lease on life, though as something inhumane. There's no way for him to know how he feels about being a vampire, but judging from their past bromance, the way they formed their relationship, he guesses that he'll only have to ask him. He bares his fangs and pierces Galfredic's jugular vein. All of a sudden, his blood is pouring into Galfredic's. He can't even take his teeth out, and a voice vibrates in his skull, commencing the inheritance ritual. Galfredic is now Eugene's possession, and under the ritual of blood, the subject's soul will belong to him, and all of the subject's power will also belong to the Lord. A bright burst of crimson energy washes the temple. As Galfredic yells, a bright light shoots out of his eyes, creating a column of scarlet energy. Meanwhile, at the settlement, people are running around like a chicken with its head cut off. They yell that the maze has broken down, and monsters are pouring out. Sure enough, the monsters are turning the villagers into a one-stop buffet. The Minotaur is also bringing havoc upon the people, while Lugat smiles, looking at his handiwork and feeling proud of all the sacrifices he made to the maze. Now his time has finally come. They will never know that he planned this, along with the maze, and once the villagers plunge into despair of the highest degree, he will appear and take the Minotaur down with his $5 tattoo. He deludes himself into thinking that this is his reward for making offerings to the maze. By using humans and bringing them salvation, he will become a messiah for everyone. He smiles sadistically, telling them to die more so that he can be worshipped as a messiah. The horde of monsters looms over the villagers. As a little child is about to be gobbled by a dire wolf, something slams into the wolf, turning it into a docile puppy and ripping its jaw apart with its bare hand. They smile at their savior, looking at Sir Eugene, Aura, farming on top of the wolf corpse. Lugats didn't expect Eugene to be here. He thought the Minotaur absorbed his blood and became stronger. Did he get stronger on the brink of death or something? And if that's true, then the plan is going stout. Eugene looks at Lugats, wondering why he is making that face. And does Sir Javin know that he is the one responsible for this carnage? He smiles, telling Lugats that it doesn't matter. After all, he will pay for his sins. A dark sheep looms behind Lugats, slamming into the building and crushing it. Lugats smiles nervously, looking at Galfredic, asking him if he missed him. It's time for round 2 and for him to get payback with interest for the humiliation he gave Galfredic in the tournament. His eyes shine with a pink glow as he calls Lugats a heretic. The Minotaur zooms in as Eugene extends his claws and shoots towards the Minotaur, smacking it across the face like an angry Karen confronting a store manager. They look at their unlikely savior, realizing that someone is fighting the monster, someone wearing a dark set of armor and has red eyes. They realize there is none other than Sir Eugene. They smile, chanting his name, saying that the knight is fighting for them. One of them whispers that he is their messiah. The heavens have sent him for their salvation, the rumored one from the prophecy. Our boy's street cred just got a massive boost. He slams into the Minotaur like a blazing comet, tearing off its magical core and making it bleed. Looking at the Minotaur suffer such a defeat is enough to have Lugats reevaluate his life choices. The pink mark that gave him gender issues and borrowed power disappears. Lugats immediately falls. He can't even pick his sword up anymore. He calls the believers, saying that he has inherited God's power and will be God's new hand, ushering humanity into a new era. Galfredic arrives, grabbing his blade as if it's a toothpick and telling him, "Lil bro, to reconsider what you just said. What happened to his monstrous strength from earlier?" Lugats realizes that he is forced to wonder if Galfredic has always been this strong. Eugene arrives and Galfredic calls him master instead of Eugene. Eugene tells Galfredic to go kill every one of these heretics, and Galfredic smiles with relish, chasing after Lugats like the dirty rat he is. Lugats yells that his goals are right in front of him, but right now, Eugene is behind him and Galfredic is in front of him, ready to poke a hole in his chest with his sword. He wonders why he is in such a hurry. They should catch up. Didn't he have to pay the price of having him fudged over? Lugats realizes that he can't get out of this one, and they are not human, they are monsters. After the nightmare, Word spread that Lugats had brought the village to its devastation. Eugene was hailed as their hero, and flowers fell wherever he went. Galfredic smiles. It did not matter to Eugene that Galfredic was alive once again was enough for him. They see the sun set, and later Galfredic looks at Eugene with a stone face as water dribbles over his face. A voice whimpers that she was worried sick that he would become barbecue for the orcs. Galfredic looks at the crying little water spirit, wondering what the hell it is. Eugene realizes that he can see her now. She follows him around and is a water spirit named Mirian. She is the first contractor for Eugene. Mirian tells the others to view her as they are seen here. Eugene tells them that even though it's annoying, it talks too much, but it still has its usage, and humans can't see it. So maybe hanging out all the time has made Romari see it. He turns his attention towards Galfredic, asking how he feels. He'll have to drink animal blood from now on, and personally, Eugene has to drink a monster's blood twice a month, but he's not sure about his subordinate. Galfredic wonders about a vampire's life. Does that mean that he will have to avoid sunlight? Mirian points at him, giving him the vampire 101. He will need to stay out of the sunlight. The moment Galfredic heard that, he told them bet and stepped out of the sunlight, ready to test it out. They yell at him to stop, but he steps into the sunlight, and surprisingly, he's totally Eugene gasps in surprise, and Romari realizes what's going on. Since Eugene is an origin vampire, only normal vampires are burned by sunlight. It's only normal that the noble and supreme vampires can walk in broad daylight. It only makes sense that Galfredic would be perfectly fine as well. Jonah Eugene takes off his invisible black armor, and his hand doesn't combust. He wonders why he put in so much hard work to avoid sunlight all this time, and Galfredic smirks. Now he knows that he's not a half-elf, and he finally understands why he kept that mask on and always rejected his request to duel. Now he has no reason to turn him down, so maybe they should look forward to their duel. He tries to call Eugene's name, but his mouth won't utter the words. Romari explains that Galfredic can't say Eugene anymore. He'll have to call him master from now on since he is his subordinate. Galfredic argues that they are friends, but that doesn't matter when it comes to blood supremacy. He remembers Eugene explaining that he is no longer a human, and this is the best he could do to save him. There will be a lot of restraints and threats on his life, and if he feels bad, he can live his own life. After all, it was Eugene's choice to resurrect him. Galfredic told him that he doesn't care if he is human or not. All he cares about is that he can stand by his side. He is not an idiot who forgets a favor, and he is going to be the best subordinate ever. He'll always be with him. But currently, he is crashing out about why he can't call his friend by his name. Eugene smiles, wondering if he should shut his mouth. Galfredic also wonders about Blondie and the mercenary leader. Eugene explains that he told them to do something at the down low, and he wonders if they managed to pull it off. Saint Legrand has sent him a letter of thanks. Jevin tells him that they were able to eliminate the heretics because of Eugene. The Templars were using anti-mana stones to get stronger and clear the maze. An ambush by Eugene's mercenary gang put them out of their misery. He was the one who realized that and dispatched mercenaries to stop them. And as far as Eugene knows, the Templars are supposed to carry out the will of God, not run errands and help clear mazes. With all of these dark rumors about the end of the world, he's been wondering why they would try to help out with the raids instead of praying for humanity. Jevin apologizes, saying that House Evergrow sponsors Saint Legrand, and they are very trustworthy. If they did not know about the heretical organization, their family's honor would have been pulled through the mud. He thanks them on behalf of his house. The people here have great respect for him as well, and he should accept their praise and thanks. Eugene gets up with dignity, telling them to take care, and he'll excuse himself. Jevin also welcomes Galfredic back. He's glad that Galfredic is alright. They turn to leave, and Jevin looks anything but grateful. He looks at them with cold and calculating eyes. Later, they drink to Galfredic's safe return. The rumors were really scary surrounding him, and they thought that he would never come back. They're celebrating in an inn. Galfredic smiles, saying that it's all thanks to Master that he was able to come back in one piece. A bold mercenary smiles, patting Galfredic's shoulder, wondering if he's serving Eugene now, and he also wants to follow him. Eugene tells them that he is not hiring at the moment. They should drop their resumes later. Galfredic sighs. The beer is terrible, and he really has the taste buds of a vampire. Zenitsu Light tells Galfredic that his eye color is different from before. Something happens in the maze. He smirks, calling Raban a little ball. Cut Jr. who raided the establishment with Patrick. Maybe Patrick was just being nice and letting him hang around. The boy whimpers that he is a proper mercenary now, and everyone laughs at him. Patrick also tells them that it's amazing that he was able to uncover the truth about the heretics. It looked like Lord Javin was also surprised. Eugene wonders about that. Does he truly believe that Abby sent him a letter of gratitude? It turns out that they've been using Lou Gates as a scapegoat. They only told the mercenaries to arrest the Templars and not the Abbeys. After all, if they raided the Abbey, it would have disgraced Evergrow's house, and they would have been on his tail. That's why he gave them an opening and let them blame a single person for what happened. He also thinks that Lord Javin is behind it all. That's why they need to leave this place as soon as possible and as quietly as possible. Later, they're galloping at full speed, the caravan speeding along as arrows fall all around them. Rabin manages to deflect one with his wooden shield, realizing that they've been surrounded. The mercenaries follow Galfredic and Eugene. Their target is a man in a black leather robe on a black horse. Though Sir Lou Gates might have been a cremator, he was Lord Javin's favorite knight, and Lord Javin was upset he wasn't able to punish Eugene himself. They're eager to get revenge on behalf of their lord, sustaining his honor, promising to put a scar on their pretty boy face. Just then, a dark shape looms behind him. Eugene arrives and smacks the mercenary upside the head, telling them to stop. They soon skid to a halt, and it turns out they've been waiting and anticipating the ambush. Galfredic smirks, bringing his blades and telling them that this will be their funeral. The tables have turned, and 5 minutes later, all the mercenaries have been banded up. Galfredic praises Eugene for his great tactic, and Eugene just smiles. Galfredic also wonders where he learned how to use the sword. He's getting so much better. Eugene tells Galfredic that it's all because of him. When he sucked his blood, he also gained all of his abilities and experience. He also wonders about the strange voice he heard. Did it belong to the heavens, or was it an illusion? One of the knights yells that they should die for disgracing the estate, and they also tease Galfredic for almost dying due to his lack of skills and blame it on Sir Lou Gates as well. Eugene realizes that they're ignorant. He tells them that they should be prepared to die and brings out his saber. Galfredic tells him to wait, they should take them hostage instead. All of the mercenaries shake their head, nodding enthusiastically. Galfredic explains that they should respect a strong opponent, even if they're an enemy. Taking them as hostages will also make them earn money through ransom. The mention of money makes Eugene switch up, like God's chosen people. He also wonders if they have to be alive, and that doesn't include a beating. He starts beating them to teach them a lesson. Later, the mercenaries arrive in a luxurious hotel, though their faces are bashed up, unrecognizable, and they've all had 3 smile makeovers. They still can't believe that they're being treated so nicely. The deputy manager tells Eugene not to worry, they can cover for him. They'll get a pretty ransom from Jevon. After all, these mercenaries are his knights. Eugene also tells the deputy manager to repair his armor and also get Sir Galfredic's armor as well. Galfredic pumps his fist in the air in excitement. They knew he made the right choice to stick with Eugene. The deputy manager smiles. She has a good eye for people and customers, and she knew that he would become famous. He also brought them a lot of loot, so it's only natural to get them some armor. She then asks Eugene about his next destination. If he needs bigger bucks, he should go for a more dangerous place, but the payout is higher. Lord Javin curses, throwing a tantrum and crashing out in his office. Why are all his knights as useless as Sakura from Naruto? They can't even handle a single knight, and they were captured as hostages. Talk about an insult to injury. He curses Eugene and knew that he was stronger than Lou Gates, but he didn't know he was this strong. Should he just lick his wounds and leave Eugene alone? The man who killed his own knights. He looks at a map, and his mind starts to click. Now that he thinks about it, he's here under the trading company's recommendation. So his next destination might be the demon realm. Javin's mind starts creating an evil scheme, and he laughs stupidly. It's obvious where he's headed. Philia, the new peninsula. They're on the ship right now. Galfredic and Eugene are talking to each other. Marquis ran the peninsula but turned out to be a cult member, and he fell from power because he became too evil. That's the complex situation they're in right now. The bishop of the church ran away as soon as the system collapsed. Eugene finds it to be good news. After all, as masters of darkness, they can't have the church sniffing around for them. Mirian rushes towards them, saying that Romani is puking her head off from the ship. She's gotten severely seasick, and she's still here because she wants to help the noble region. Galfredic tells her to reveal her new purpose. She finally reveals that she wants a lot of materials to make a chimera. It's their ultimate goal to sew monsters together and create an ultimate being. The last successful chimera was a dog and girl hybrid that called Edward over and over again. But she's not lying about wanting to help the noble vampire. Galfredic teases her that she just doesn't want to be chucked off the ship. Romani whispers that the spirit should also reveal her goals. A spirit entering a contract with the vampire is unheard of. Mirian claps back that all she wants to do is travel the world and collect gold. She angrily wonders why a spirit even needs money, and Mirian whispers that she doesn't have the time to answer those questions for free. Galfredic just laughs. Looks like everyone has their own purpose, and this just shows how great Eugene is. He tells Eugene to look at the mercenaries. They're also here because they see greatness in him. The mercenaries are gathered around, looking at Rabin being dominated in a game of arm wrestling. Galfredic just smiles, asking Eugene what his purpose in life is. Eugene wonders about his purpose in life and goes into an existential crisis. But his purpose is clear, much clearer than mine when I chose that arts degree as a major. He has 2 goals: first, to remember who he is, and second, to get revenge for his past life, and also to use carded crystals to become stronger than ever so that he doesn't die a dog's death like his past life. The Kyler's Kingdom Central Church and the Paladin killed him. He needs to watch out for them, since they're always sniffing around for vampires. like God's chosen people are sniffing around for loose change and coins. Galfredik smiles. He tells Eugene that he doesn't need to tell him his goal if he doesn't want to. All he needs to know is that Galfredik is grateful that he has a new lease on life. They can have all kinds of fun adventures together. Eugene wonders if that's all he wants. Didn't he want bigger things in life? Galfredik just smiles. The bigger things can wait. A knight should chase after honor and glory in battle. But here he is, basking in the sun and traveling. Galfredik is greater than any gift he could have received, or if he had died, he would be floating through a dark Nile. He thanks him again and smiles, promising to help Eugene fulfill his goals to the best of his ability. Miriam also smiles. She might like gold, but she likes being with him much more. It's always fun saving gold together so that they can build a golden castle. Romari also smiles, promising to help as much as she can. And all the mercenaries chant that they don't even need money. Romari nervously says that she wants monster material, and Eugene tells her she can get it as long as she pulls her weight in their battle. They smile, and Eugene finds it strange that he has more people to protect, but it doesn't feel like a burden. It feels almost liberating. They're finally at the harbor, and they're met with a knight belonging to the Peninsula branch of the trading company. He is Byrne, captain of the mercenary guild, and they ride through the forest. Byrne explains that recently they haven't been able to kill one intermediate rank monster because of wyverns. The dragon-like creatures attempt to sabotage their raid, and they use harpies before attacking themselves. Eugene realizes that they really have advanced, but maybe he can get some red crystals as well. Byrne tells Eugene that he needs to pay the bandits whatever they want so that he doesn't get hurt. He takes Eugene for a soft boy, a noble who hides behind Galfredik and claims credit for his deeds. All of a sudden, Eugene feels tense. He asks Galfredik for a spear and chucks it with all he's got, piercing a bandit in the head. The bandits swoop in, and Eugene is the first to spring into action while Byrne tells him to stop and think for a moment. Just pay the fee so they can get away without any injuries. Eugene tells Byrne that he worries too much. Both of the knights zoom towards the bandits as Byrne runs after them, wondering if he is another irresponsible and overconfident noble. Eugene looks at the sweet new sword he got. It's a high-quality blade, something too good for the bandits to be waving around. The bandits are on their knees, crying like children, apologizing for stealing it from the house for the children. He can have it as long as he spares them, and they even offer to become his slaves. Eugene tells them that there are too many mouths to feed. They whimper that they are not even hungry and can survive on water. Byrne, on the other hand, is looking at Eugene in a whole new light. No wonder the company recommended him. He took care of 4 bandit groups in just 2 days. Everyone looks at the bandits sobbing like naughty children. They were so horrible to everyone in the village, and now they are kneeling and sobbing for their lives. Eugene decides to go along with it, but they are behind schedule. One of the villagers asks what he plans to do with the bandits, and Eugene wonders what he means. They all look at him with puppy dog eyes. They thought that he was here to be their savior. Galfredik laughs. It looks like they want him to be the lord of the village. After all, they need a heroic man such as Eugene in their village. Byrne wonders what's going on. Why are all the bandits hell-bent on being his slaves? He also realizes this is an opportunity to become an outstanding knight's right-hand man. He asks Eugene to consider it since all of the bandits have been taken care of, and most of them are now slaves. There's a cave without trolls and a mountain without tigers at the village. If he wants, he can become the lord right away. Miriam's eyes light up as she urgently tells Eugene to take them on the offer. It will be a shortcut to nobility, and it's also not a bad thing to have authority. It would help him deal with the central church. Eugene considers it, but he will have to give up on his dream of getting more Scarlet Manas Christians. And is the Lord's position valuable enough for him to divide his focus and resources? Patrick burst into the room, telling Eugene that there's a problem. The bandits they took in as slaves stole the horses and ran off. It seems as if some of them hid weapons in their mouth and cut ropes. Currently, Rabin has been hurt as he was trying to feed them. Rabin whispers, asking Eugene to avenge him. Eugene thinks about it and asks Patrick if he's hurt. Patrick only has a light graze on his hand, saying it's nothing but a scratch. But that infuriates Eugene. How dare they hurt his mercenaries as he storms off, ready to bring them to their knees. Rabin tearfully wonders what's up with this favoritism. Why did he get mad only when Patrick was hurt? Galfredik is ready to accompany him, but Eugene tells him to stay and defend the village, and also tell the chief that he'll accept their offer. He smiles, telling Eugene that he should be called his lordship now. Eugene storms away. The city is ablaze, and the villagers are trying to put out the fire. The bandits are standing at the entrance. They're responsible for setting it on fire, for stealing Eugene's war horse as well as Sir Galfredik's war horse and their supplies, and double-crossing them. They sure are dumb. Dumber than my high school bully, who failed PE and got an F in lunch. They even assume that the group will be wiped out after they fight with the dragon, like monsters, and then they'll take over the village. The villagers ask who the hell the bandit is. They should get out of here. The bandit unsheathes his sword, saying they're the new lords of the village. As soon as he swings it, he feels sharp talons grip his face. The bandit wonders what the hell, they were here for the silver mines, and he didn't even drop the sword to get grabbed like that. Eugene arrives, saying that the situation is a mess and he now knows why there are so many bandits. He slashes the first bandit, calling them foolish. One of the bandits asks for forgiveness for the second time, promising to be a good little puppy this time around. But Eugene is done giving them shelter. He makes quick work of the bandits, and later, all of the villagers look at him warily. He tells them not to be afraid, for he is a knight, and those who try to take over their village are gone. They have nothing more to fear, for he is here, and he will protect the village. But he feels something is off as the arrow zooms towards his face. He grabs it and realizes that it came from the woods. Something is off. He can feel the aura of an advanced monster from there. He looks at a lone figure standing with an aura forming on top of a tree. Eugene calls out, asking if he is Piccolo. A silver-haired man with a crossbow yells that he is a roamer and a swine. He zooms towards Eugene, and Eugene blocks it, realizing that the other party is also a vampire with the trademark red eyes and fangs. He throws him off, and the newcomer yells, realizing that he has a clanless mudblood. That's why he doesn't know that he has dibs on this hunting side. He is named Mondo of the Nofirus clan, and he tries to use blood supremacy to order Eugene to kneel, calling him a roamer mutt. 10 seconds later, the silver-haired vampire is on his knees, bruised, battered, and crying his eyes out, apologizing for not recognizing Eugene, and he deserves a nail to the heart. He curses himself, for he never heard of a rumor that wields a silver sword. As soon as the sword touched him, his skin started to sizzle, and on top of that, Eugene is an original vampire. He desperately wants to prevent the downfall of their entire household. Eugene sits across the vampire, cross-legged. He knows that he is not the lord of their clan, and his father taught him not to attack his own kind. The silver-haired vampire tearfully apologizes again. He acted on his own and he was foolish. He burst out crying, asking Eugene to have mercy and only kill him instead of his entire household. Miriam can't believe that a fully grown man, and a vampire on top of that, is sobbing like a little girl. After all, Eugene is a walking, talking contradiction, a holy knight vampire wielding a silver sword. Good thing he got Vampire 101 lessons from Rumari. Vampires consider those who made them into vampires as their parents, and they value family and hierarchy over everything. That's the Dom Toretto law of vampire society. An air of intimidation surrounds Eugene as he realizes that he needs to threaten him more. He asks why he should trust him after what he's done. Mondo looks like he needs a new pair of fangs and pants. He apologizes and swears on his bloodline in the name of his father, Violent, that he will do anything and beg forgiveness. He starts banging his head on the ground as the ultimate show of humility. Eugene looks at him with primal instinct, wondering if anything. Later, Miriam wonders why he is using Mondo to spread rumors about him. It's good for people to know about their new lord, but will Mondo even listen to him? Eugene reasons that since he's sore on his father and his bloodline, he's sure that he can be trusted. He also heard that people can change. Miriam claps back that vampires are known to be arrogant and cruel. Eugene coolly reminds her that he is also a vampire, and she laughs, but she doesn't have a good feeling about it. Eugene, on the other hand, wonders if he should smack her in the head. He's sure that Mondo will do as he says, unless he has a death wish. Miriam smirks, pointing out that that's the cruelty he's been showing. Byrne tells him that they've already arrived and the castle is up ahead. This is the Baron's castle. Later, Eugene requests the Baron to give them reinforcements, and the Baron looks away, saying that he is in a sticky situation and it's too much. Being a lord is hard work, managing finances and the army, and since Eugene is a skillful knight, he should be able to do it with his own forces. Eugene understands he won't be getting any additional manpower. At least the Baron should increase their pay. He heard that the raid failed twice already. The third attempt will require more men, and since the Baron is not following up on that, at the very least, they need to be paid more. It's not too much to ask for. The Baron's eyes widen in surprise. He smiles crazily and bursts out laughing, telling Eugene he's as bold as the rumors claim. He decides to grant him his additional pay, half of the mana crystals, and the loot from the monsters. Eugene looks at the contract and tells the Baron that he's also as generous as the rumors claim. After hitting it off, they turn to leave. As Eugene and his squad leave, Patrick wonders how it went. Eugene claims that he didn't get any additional reinforcements, but he shouldn't worry as they're getting paid more. Patrick is not sure about that. Why the unfairness? Galfredic calms him down, reminding him who their master is. Is there any reason to be anxious when they have such big hitters in their team? Patrick smiles, finally reassured. Later at night, the knights look at Eugene and his gang pass through, and one of the villagers spots Eugene, realizing he's the Black Knight, the one from Marin. He's so cool. He starts fawning over him, but he's an outsider, so he must not be informed about the dragon monsters. They have the same numbers as the second unit, but they should have more people to have more chances of success. If the knight is strong, he doesn't have a good feeling about it. He hesitates for a moment and sets down the swords he's carrying, rushes towards Eugene, and asks for a bit of time. He has something important to tell them. As the sun starts to set, the Baron receives loot from a rumor caught outside of the castle. A fat knight grins, explaining that they got new loot for him. He tells Sir Oleg that he has something important to discuss with him. Oleg needs to kill someone who has insulted him, the knight who wears the black armor, and the man leading the third unit that left today. He suspects that he'll die in the demonic realm, but in case Eugene manages to make it out in one piece, Oleg must wait outside and kill him. This brain-dead grandpa doesn't realize that someone as strong as Eugene, who would clear a demonic continent by himself, can't be taken out by a slab of sentient ham. Oleg, on the other hand, yells, "How dare he insult their master?" Turns out, this order has nothing to do with insults, but it's a bribe that came from Javin, who has a huge grudge against him. But the Baron doesn't care. After all, what difference does it make if a knight from some foreign land dies? The boy tells Eugene and the gang that the ancient site is ruled by the dragon monsters. The domain where the monsters reside is an open area. It's very dangerous for them to fly, and on top of that, they control harpies to weaken the raid unit before attacking. It will lead to a big loss if they don't prepare beforehand. Eugene realizes that they need countermeasures in place. He has all of the squad carved wooden stakes. Galfredic arrives, asking if Eugene wants to know about the number of capable fighters. 40 can fight. They are the best from the bandits who swore loyalty and didn't run away. The weaker ones are now potters. Patrick and Burns' mercenaries will get into a formation to protect Romari and the equipment, and they will finish building a base with the wooden stakes. It's pretty good for something they made in a hurry. Eugene smiles and tells everyone they will camp here tonight. They'll head out once the sun rises. A strange thing for a vampire to say. Later they start their journey, and the guy in the back with a cross scar complains about not getting a thorn out, and why did he have to build these walls? They are just going to leave them behind anyway. It's true that the bandit lied and swore loyalty because he didn't want to be sold as a slave, but he also doesn't want to obey a knight from another place. Galfredic's eyes widen, and he turns to Eugene, calling him master. Eugene tells everyone to prepare for battle. The tanks ready their shields at the front line as screeching fills the air. Scar readies his bow, but there's nothing out here. He wonders if their knight is just a cover, but it turns out that it wasn't. A swarm of harpies swoop in, screeching and shrieking. Eugene tells them to fire, and they immediately unleash a volley of arrows, hitting the harpies and bringing them down. One of the harpies grabs Eugene by the shoulder. Rookie mistake. Eugene looks at the harpy and grabs its talon, breaking it apart like a chicken leg and sending it flying into the others. He then tells Romari to get ready, and Romari starts chanting, ribbons of pink energy swirling around her. A harpy tries to target her. Rookie mistake once again as Patrick swings his sword, turning her into kebab. He tells Romari to keep focusing on her chanting, and they need to just throw hands and bring them down. The soldiers break out their swords, calling them damned birds and cutting them apart. Galfredic smiles. They're better than he expected. The harpies whisper into each other's ears and shoot through the air, creating a tornado around them. All of the harpies then focus their undivided attention on Eugene. Eugene looks at the incoming swarm of baddies, wondering if he is now popular with the ladies. The violent burst of monster flesh amazes everyone as Eugene tears through their bodies. As the chanting progresses, Romari starts chanting again, calling out for restraint. Immediately, the ground lights up with pink ribbons made of energy, each one restraining a harpy, immobilizing them. She's restricted all nearby monsters, and they're now sitting ducks for the bandits to pick. Eugene tells everyone to kill the harpies and only take the necessary loot. Scar can't believe it's real. All of the harpies are now destined to be Eugene's fried chicken. His fellow calls Scar, asking him not to complain anymore and to put his trust in Eugene. It's better than living like a bandit. Scar smiles, renewed vigor. He will definitely live an honest life from now on. He yells, ready to go. Get those dragon bastards. Surprisingly, Eugene tells them to fall back once they are done with the harpies. They can't believe what he is saying. He explains that they are going to mount the harpy heads on the walls. Byrne wonders if he is in his right mind. Why are they falling back when the soldiers are burning with morale? Eugene smiles, telling them that they'll see why he is doing this. They can't believe that they are falling back already when they are on a winning streak. One of them yells that life is all about timing. They should push forward while they have the upper hand. Scar, on the other hand, is not too eager to go against his lord's wishes. The man smirks, teasing Scar for actually listening to Eugene. Scar only scratches his head, reminding the guy that not one of them died. And on top of that, that guy killed hundreds of monsters single-handedly, and he didn't even use them as bait or meat shears despite them being bandits. He is definitely better than any leader they ever had. There are many knights with strength and courage, but not many with brains, and this man has it all. A killer face card, flowing raven hair, a rocking body, and a shocking brain. Eugene looks around, asking Galfredic if those are the reinforcements. Eugene tells Galfredic to confirm. Galfredic tells Eugene that the Baron is not too generous. They are mercenaries but not as reinforcements, and they are not that friendly either. Oleg and the others are here, and they also spot the boy who talked to Eugene before they left the castle. Galfredic looks at Eugene, waiting for his orders. The boy remembers sitting alone in a forest, reading about how knighthood can shape a man, and the legendary hero who united the island was the Night King. He might be a bastard son, but having been born in a knight's household, the Night King will forever be his role model, and though he might not reach his level in this lifetime, he desperately wants to be like him, like a bird admiring the heavens. He remembers looking at the sky, eyes full of hope, and the same eyes turned to despair and lost their light when he lost his fight a year ago and became a slave to a foreign nation. Since then, his life has been nothing but a miserable charade, shattered into pieces, forced to work to the bone. And the most terrible part is that he has to follow a brain-dead and foolish knight. You wonder why Oleg is ambushing the raid unit, but he can't ask any questions. All he knows is that the Night King wouldn't have used such cowardly tactics. Oleg leads them through the cavern and looks at them surrounded by wooden stakes. They wonder why they have a wall surrounding them. Oleg tells everyone to charge straight ahead. A fellow knight reminds Oleg that it's too rash, but when Oleg tells him that anyone who doesn't attack will be killed, the knight sarcastically says that it's a perfect challenge. They should all charge together like buddies. The boy realizes that while Oleg is as stupid as a can of beans, his kill is the real deal. The knight from earlier shoves the boy ahead, telling them to be meat shields. Oleg yells, promising to pray for them and to pay for every enemy they kill. They rush forward in high spirits, pouring through the mountainside. The boy is conflicted about raising the sword. After all, that's not something the Night King would do. He looks at Eugene and is troubled. He grabs his sword and Eugene tells everyone to attack on command, get into formation behind the fence and wait for orders. Scar wonders who's raiding them. Oleg yells, ready to kill them all, but a screech stops their little meat, measuring contest. The dragons have arrived in a huge swarm, followed by harpies. They're even coming past the castle walls. One of the dragons yells as a ball of energy starts coagulating around its mouth. It unleashes a burst of Mexican breath, burning everyone in a 10-mile radius. Oleg didn't expect things to go so out of hand. Eugene looks at the dragon. His eyes widen and his smile shines. He was sure that the dragons wouldn't leave the raid unit alone after they invaded the demon realm. He's been waiting for this for a while. He calls out to the dragons, and the dragons roar in response, ready to challenge Eugene. The dragons have arrived with a swarm of harpies. They look at the sky, and it darkens because of their shadows. Oleg snatches a bow and arrow, shooting it idiotically, and the arrow misses its target. Just like my dad missed my graduation in 25 years of my life, the harpy swoops in and falls on top of the knight. The boy grabs his sword, fending it off and telling the knight to get ready and bring out his weapon. Surprisingly, the stupid knight says that he is scared of birds. The sky is littered with harpies and the dragon. This is not what Galfredic expected to go down, and Eugene agrees. Though the other unit is really useful as a distraction for the harpies, the dragon is not coming down anytime soon. They will have to persuade him with a little tough love. He fires 3 arrows in succession, and the dragon dodges each one, screeching at the harpy to go take care of them. The harpies zoom towards them, and they knock bows, ready to bring them down with their arrows. Byrne tells them that they cannot hold on anymore. They need decisive action. Eugene realizes it is time. He calls Galfredic, and Galfredic shoots an arrow at breakneck speed that hits the dragon and makes it stagger. Galfredic smiles, telling Eugene it is his turn. Eugene grabs a spear and chucks it with everything he has got, turning it into a blazing comet and shattering the dragon's wing in a single strike, making it fall out of the air. The dragon is furious, a bright burst of light shining in its maw. Eugene yells at everyone to get out of the way. It is about to throw a fiery breath, and sure enough, they manage to dodge it at the nick of time. The dragon roars in indignation as Eugene gets ready, and Galfredic tells Romari to restrain it with her magic. It is as if the dragon can understand him. It turns its attention towards Romari, ready to chomp her into a maid-sized snack. She closes her eyes and accepts her fate, but Eugene would rather die than let his people get hurt. He stands before her with the monster's fangs digging into his shoulder. He is snatched away as Galfredic grabs Romari and runs away. The dragon opens its mouth again, swallowing up Eugene. They cry his name. He was supposed to move out of the way as well, but something is wrong. The monster cannot close its jaw properly. Turns out Eugene is holding its mouth open. He looks into the dark pit of the monster's mouth, and a bright burst of fire shines in his face. The monster spews flames into the sky, and Eugene yells as Galfredic calls out to his master. A bright burst of blood also surrounds the incoming flames, and the monster's eyes turn red, redder than usual, almost bleeding. The monster loses consciousness as it falls, and all of the harpies shriek and run away. Galfredic rushes towards the monster, calling out Eugene's name. Eugene is standing there, full of scratches, bruised, beaten, and yet alive. He explains that he threw his sword into the monster's throat. He was not hurt too badly, thanks to the dragon's blood coming out of its throat along with the flames. He managed to protect himself with black scales as well. The sword is fine even after being thrown into a burning inferno. He realizes that it is an S-class blade, and he could be much stronger if he got more of these. All of his mercenaries hail him as the hero, chanting his name in high spirits. He says that he is a knight blessed by the gods, and some of them even claim that he is a god. Eugene just smiles, looking at them praising him. Oleg realizes that things have turned south. He needs to run away if he wants to keep that fat head of his. But before he can run away, Bern and Scar block his path, telling him that they just want to talk to him about his car insurance, and maybe they can have a chat. Bern is even licking his blade. Thanks for watching. Check out this next video, and remember to subscribe Annie Zap.